Hey, Nick.
Hello, Tyson. How are you going today?
It's hot, my man.
Man, it's sweltering.
We
warm.
are like knee deep in a Melbourne heat wave.
Man,
Whew.
the times, the end of time, the end of days.
The end
is
of
coming.
days,
It's arrived. It's arrived.
It's time for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Jericho Kane, I believe his name is in that movie.
Jericho Kane.
It's
like
time
a
to step
wrestler.
up, buddy.
Yeah, man, we need your help.
We do need your help.
We've
Drink
got,
that weird thing that you blend with the pizza and the milk.
That
at
was
the
my
start.
favourite scene.
And
That
get
was
on
so
your
good.
bike.
And just come over here.
It's time to get shit sorted.
We need your help.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Nick Tys and Videotape.
Hello.
It is episode number 125. Today
we look back.
We look back at 2019.
Yeah.
So this is the way we like to look at the year as a whole. We do our favourite movie moments of the year.
We do moments. We don't do films. We talk about the film.
Yeah, and we do our favourite films. We do a
Sure.
couple of films by title, but mostly we're going to talk about our favourite moments from cinema in 2019.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be a blast. But Nick, before we get stuck into that, tell the people where they can find our show.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you're cool and alive and not sick, because that's a thing.
Zombie outbreak.
Yeah, zombie outbreak, literally. And on the brink of war also.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty, if we looked it up, I think we've got a few of the signs of the apocalypse ticked off now.
We really do. No, I'm serious.
Yeah, it's getting close.
It's
to
getting
all
real
of them.
close, yeah. January, started 2020. Not the best.
If we see a swarm of locusts,
We're fucked.
I'm out.
I'm just going to go, yeah, cool. Jupiter looks fun. Don't know how I'm going to get there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining Nick Tys and Videotape. My name is Nicholas. This is my friend Tyson. We do a podcast. We do a movie podcast. If you do like what you hear, please like, subscribe, all of those things.
Indeed.
That come with listening to a podcast, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Other than that, we are on all the socials, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We do have a Gmail account if you'd like to write us some correspondence. We are at nicktysonvideotape@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyson and myself are big fans of the app Letterboxd. Now, I think I'm gonna post the app on the socials this week.
Yeah, good call.
So if people don't know what link Letterboxd is, jump on there. It's all free. You can rate review, you can watch, you can have a look at what Tyson and myself are watching. All of those things which we love. It's got a great setup. It's so good.
Yeah.
To follow Tyson myself, Tyson is at TYS_videotape, and I am Nick, NIC_videotape.
That's correct.
And other than that, strap in, because 2019 was,
What a year.
was interesting.
It was an interesting year.
Was it interesting?
Yeah.
Was it good? We don't know yet.
I can't quite tell the longevity of some of these movies just yet.
Sure.
I think there's going to be a couple that are going to be like all-timers. I think I might have said this exact same thing that last year. I'm having a real deja vu
right now.
Yeah, it all just came flooding back.
Well, I remember doing the homework for this. I remember looking at 2018, and I had a bit more fun in 2018.
Yeah. Do you know what I also did? I looked
Yeah.
at some movies that I talked about in 2018, talked
Sure.
about my favourite moments,
And?
that I don't even remember.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm...
Really?
Yeah, stuff that I was like, really? Like, I liked that enough to write that moment.
Wow,
What even
really?
was that? So
ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to hear what Tyson's talking about, you can actually go back and listen to that
you can.
episode if you wanted to.
And quiz me on it, because I won't remember a single thing.
Quiz the shit out of him. Who doesn't love a quiz?
I love quizzes.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll see how we go this year. Should we just get straight off into it, Nick, with our feature press?
Let's get cracking.
Do it.
And now for our feature presentation.
All right. So the way we do things is we've got 5 or 6 categories that we're going to talk about.
Yep.
Maybe 7. I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? And we're just going to kind of chat our way through. We pick 2 moments under each of the categories.
Yep.
And then when we get to some of our, talking about our favourite films and things like that, we bump it up to 3.
We do.
But yeah, so let's start with our...
What are we starting with?
I think we always start with action sequence.
We always start with action.
Nick, why don't you go first this time?
Oh, please. Here we go.
Nick.
Okay, so
So
it's kind of an...
You start with your second first.
I'll start with a second.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. Well, my second, which I was very late to the game too.
Oh, yeah.
I had the lead up. I watched all of them, and then I watched one, and then you can't realize that this scene is kind of kicking off, but it does. And when it does, it's lovely. I'm talking about John Wick 3.
Oh, yeah.
And we're talking about the knife fight.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't traditionally table when we do these things.
But this is your number one.
But this is my favourite action sequence of the
Right.
year. For sure.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Should we talk about it or should we table it?
No, well, let's talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
So because there's only one other,
Good
thing,
point,
so it's
good
fine.
point.
Yeah, so I kind of listed it as the opening, the whole opening that culminates for me in the knife fight in that store. I think everything leading up to it is fantastic. I think for a beginning of a movie, I am so jacked watching this movie.
Yep.
The countdown to like he's now
the hour. He's got 1 hour.
He's no longer a one of the what are they a member of the thing.
It's a member.
They now can. It's now just like he has no protection.
Yep.
And we're just watching that countdown go, and he's trying to get distance, and he's trying to kind of establish some maybe who he can trust and all this kind of stuff.
Where he can go, like where the hell is he going to go? And he just like it's so funny because I watched 1, 2, and 3 kind of back to back, and that ticking they did that really well, segued into number 3 really well because he just starts slowly walking. And then he starts running. Yeah. And he's running. And then you realize that literally everyone's kind of in the club. And you're like, oh, shit. We're kind of... This is a free-for-all. And then it kicks off with these... I think there's 5 guys. Is there 5?
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
Anyway, there's... And it's in like a... goddamn, my bad.
What are you doing?
There we go. Kind of like a... It's almost like a bull in a china shop. Like there's you know, and it's close quarters. There's only 2 main real shots of this... room, but the things that they do with it is
because
so
it's kind of like a tight hallway, so you can only really film it from one angle or the other. And so, but amazingly, because the choreography is so strong and just the staging, the blocking of the scene is just it's just so effective that that's all you need.
And how good is that? Like going back, like we're fans of 80s action movies. Yeah. There's no choreography in 80s action movies.
No, people just lumber about.
Jean-Claude, could you kick him and he'll fall into those crates and then we'll just cut there and do another shot.
Exactly.
This one is so thought out. It's a beautiful ballet of just a fight scene.
Of course. And you know that they're rehearsing the shit out of them.
Exactly.
And there's a real artistry to it, and it's very... For people like us who do enjoy, I do enjoy really good fight choreography.
Absolutely.
We get a real kick out of these movies. I think my favourite moment is when they're just beating the shit out of each other, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And there's the moment where they both realise, they look around and the wall is lined with weapons.
Yeah.
And because they're just fighting each other, blah, 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 and they haven't realised yet. And the moment where they both at the same time just go, Oh, shit. Yeah,
okay.
Let's do it.
This is getting off.
And they just each grab a bunch and start piffing them at each other.
It's everyone's just throwing fucking knives. And you're like, it's a lot of knife throwing. That's why it goes down as the knife fight. But there are other weapons, but fuck.
And
it's about the knives.
The dude, he just fucking straight into the eyeball.
Guts, man. Seriously. So good.
It's pretty bonkers.
It's the last one that I love, though. It's the nail in the coffin where he flicks it up and just goes, and he's on the other side of the room.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Nails him.
And, There are other elements in that movie. There's other moments in that movie that I really, really love.
Okay.
I love the ridiculousness of them, the fight that he has towards the end, and they go through. They're like in a showroom or something, or a museum or something.
They're in it's kind of like a museum.
Yeah, and how they just keep picking him up and throwing him through glass cabinets.
Yeah.
And the first couple of times it happens, you're like, oh yeah, cool.
Oh yeah, cool.
Oh, more? Okay. And more. Okay, good. It's almost like a comedy routine where it's like twice it's not funny, 3 times you're over it, 4 times it's hilarious.
And it's so funny because when I'm watching that movie, the amount of times he's being thrown through glass, I'm like, man, I'm getting pissed off being thrown through glass. Pick him up, John. Pick him up and throw him through the fucking glass.
You got to do it. Exactly.
It's so good. And that moment does happen. Yeah. It's so good.
And how good's Mark Dacascos? Like the villain, I guess, of the movie.
Yeah.
It's so
such
like
he plays it well.
He plays it so well because he's like a fan as well. He's like a super fan.
Yeah. He's a massive fan.
And like so he just has this kind of like he's so excited that he gets to fight John Wick. He's kind of like, oh, this is gonna be
my god, this is gonna be insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I really like Mark Dacascos, and I'm trying to. He had a rough run. He never really. Well, he got to do. I think probably the only other thing that he's done that's any good, and like that's a generalization, was probably Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Oh yeah.
Is it Manny? Is that his name in that? Manny?
In Brotherhood?
Yeah. And
2 seconds.
He's the main ass kicker in that. Like
he's where the fuck is he? What's his name again? Mark Dacascos. Manny. Yeah.
Manny.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you remember that?
I love that movie so much.
Jesus Christ.
I've seen that many, many times.
Okay.
Yeah,
my favourite Mark Dacascos film is Only the Strong. No one has seen that.
Oh, no, I have not seen Only the Strong, no.
A movie about capoeira, and it was so. It's such a. You've seen the movie before.
Yeah.
It's Dangerous Minds. It's Sister Act, but he does it with capoeira.
Oh yes,
same thing.
That sounds amazing.
Same thing.
I'll tell you what I have seen. Crying Freeman.
Oh, dear Lord.
That was a video store staple where I used to always look at that cover because it was like him with all these crazy Japanese tats all over him.
Yeah, I remember.
Holding like a sword or something, and you were like, oh, this looks fucking sick.
Yeah, so good.
Cool.
But yeah, he did play that. He played that well because he was a big fan. Of John Wick.
And
overall, though, if you because I watched them back to back, I think I prefer 2.
I prefer 2.
Yeah,
2's my favorite.
Yeah.
I
1 is a setup. 2 is him in his prime.
Yeah,
sort of
it
thing.
feels. There were, and this is nothing against Keanu Reeves. I love Keanu Reeves.
Who doesn't?
But there were some moments in number 3 where it felt maybe he's getting a bit on. And
really?
Yeah, and I didn't feel that way in 2 at all. I felt like he was still really staying on. And I know we're only talking about 2 years difference.
We are talking 2 years difference.
But for some reason, just every now and then I was watching him and he's starting to move
he's starting
like
to
a 50-year-old
bit. Yeah.
I mean, bless his heart.
Oh, dude, man.
He's 50 or something, isn't he?
Yeah.
So like this, it's not a slight against him at all.
No. He can still. Oh, Jesus, he does his training. Like,
and
if
he
you
works
look
his fucking ass off.
on YouTube, just what he can handle, like. Keanu Reeves, the actor, is actually a weapon.
Yeah,
like
I would imagine so.
Yeah, like completely.
But yeah, and look, I mean, that's not the reason why I think 2 is better. I think 3 maybe is a bit too ambitious for its own good. I think the world gets a little bit out of control.
Oh, okay.
And I think the balance was just perfect in 2.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't have a great time watching it.
No,
because I really
not.
do, and I do enjoy the bonkers elements.
Yeah.
But when he's cutting off fingers in the desert and stuff like that, I'm kind of like, yeah, okay. Let's maybe we've turned it up to 11. I loved it at 10.
Yeah, 10 was fine.
Maybe 11's a bit
fine.
much.
Yeah, 11 was a bit much. Yeah.
So yeah, I still rank 2 as my favorite of the 3 of them so far.
Same.
But
especially because it was the set. It was him on a gig. Like it was him going, okay, cool. I need this, this, and this.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay this amount of coins. All those coins, by the way. I want one, just one. But yeah, paying it off and then going through and then going from A to B because he had to get away after the fight, and Common is after him. And he just smashes through that window, and they're like, okay, we're done, boys.
Yeah.
And they literally have to let it go. Like, that is so good. I love that writing, man. So
I did
good.
enjoy the dogs in 3 as well.
You did? Or you didn't?
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
I was also pretty close to picking that scene.
Oh, really?
With Storm. God, Halle Berry.
That scene. You're doing 3.
Yeah, the escape from where are they, like somewhere like Bangladesh or something, and the 2 dogs become like their sidekicks,
literally weapons.
Yeah,
and they literally die.
It's so good,
very choreographed, very
yeah. So I was pretty close to choosing that one as well.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's my runner-up.
Nice.
That was your number 1.
That was my number 1.
Let's go with your runner-up.
Yeah, I'll get my runner-up. So my runner-up is from Alita Battle Angel.
Oh, sure.
It's the. I can't remember what the sport is, like murder balls, rollerball, or whatever. But it's the sequence
it's a where version.
Where I was actually torn on this one as well because for me, there were a couple of action scenes that I was invested in, like emotionally, because like you actually feared for the characters in some of them, and you felt like because they were generally it's her who's she's very like powerful and a very strong character, but she doesn't understand her strength just yet, and so she feels a little bit like the underdog going up against some of these hugely enhanced assassins, basically killers. And there's an early scene where she first comes to rescue Christoph Waltz, who's in over his head trying to kill these 2 bad robots.
I remember that in the alley.
Yeah, and I really liked that action sequence. But I went with the murder ball thing because just visually, it's incredibly impressive, I thought. Well, considering that we hang a lot of shit on bad CGI, and that could have been a sequence where it glazes over you.
But it was good.
But it wasn't at all. You were super engaged, and it was really, really thrilling. Like, the choreography of it was incredible. Each beat actually felt like it had weight to it.
Yeah.
There were stakes there. It was really great. And at the same time, the only thing that I found really funny is I loved the commentator in it, who was like literally saying exactly what we saw. And it was the most overly literal like narration / commentary I've ever heard, and it made me giggle a few times. But aside from that, I really loved just the energy of it, the excitement in it. I found it so cool.
It was very good to look at. They did it very well.
Yeah.
The CGI, like in Alita Battle Angel on a whole, was very, very. What what is the word? Like complete sort of thing. Like it was, it was perfect to look at. It was such a picturesque film.
It was really surprisingly strong CGI. I think I was a little disjointed with the faces on the robots to begin with. Like Ed Screen, for instance, his face just kind of floating in midair. Yeah. But once you just adjust to that little bit of kind of discomfort to it, I think it's really, really strong, and it's easily the best thing Robert Rodriguez has done in years.
Oh, really?
Well, think about it. What is it? A couple of machete movies.
I'm a massive fan of Sin City, bro.
Yeah, but that was 2005.
That's true, 5. Yeah, it was a decade. Like,
quite a while ago. So the guy's made what,
what has
5
he done
or 6 movies.
He's
made some machete films. He made. I just thought of the other one, and I've forgotten. Did he make Spy Kids 4?
Oh, jeez.
Since then?
The
Sin City Spy, a sequel as well.
No, he didn't do that. No, that was, what's his name, on his own, wasn't it?
Frank Miller.
Was it Frank Miller on his own?
Oh, I don't think so. I think they got...
Frank
Miller did that...
He did
Shadow.
The Spirit.
Spirit.
That was fucking Jesus Christ. Oh, no, that was Rodriguez.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
So it's good to see him do a movie that I legitimately liked. Nice. It made me excited because I'm a big fan of his. I think his energy's great.
We do love him.
I like his do-it-yourself aesthetic where it's just I'll fucking do everything.
He's done nothing. Why hasn't he done anything? Come on, there's got to be something that he's done that we've missed. No.
Just those?
Wow.
So just the machetes.
Just the machetes.
Sin City. So he didn't do Spy Kids 4. I thought he did.
No.
No. Okay. Cool. Just 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3. Left it at that.
Remember Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
No, I do not. I've not seen Spy Kids or Shark Boy and Lava Girl. And if Clark asks to watch it, it's going to be a hard no. Mate, we're not wasting our time,
Shark
buddy.
Boy and Lava Girl. It is outrageously bad.
Why would I watch that?
I just don't understand how it got made.
Come on, man.
Remember Reboot? Remember that TV show Reboot? That looks better than Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
That's a hard watch right there. Reboot. Jesus.
Oh God.
Oh Jesus.
Nick, what's your what was your favourite action sequence of the year?
Well, mine, Tyson, is kind of a no-brainer. It's Thor, Iron Man, and Cap versus Thanos.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's a very weighted scene. It's Thanos just sitting there waiting, and Thor's looking at him. Cap and Iron Man rock up, and they go, "What is he doing?" He's like, "He's just waiting there," and they literally just have that moment and just wait. Thor fucking lightnings the fuck up.
Oh yeah,
and then oh my God, they let loose.
They do let loose.
It ends in I can't spoil it because literally everyone has seen this film, but it ends with Captain America being worthy of that or worthy of
and well, I mean that's where we'd love it to end. Because
that's where my scene ends. That's where I like it to end.
That would be
on your left is a different scene.
Yeah. The movie obviously has to continue, but it's the one thing that upon rewatch I found that moment sad because it's such a great moment.
So good.
It's so good. I wish it had been
a little bit longer
later, so that it could have led directly to the defeat of Thanos.
Sure,
because it's that good a moment to have it happen and then have him still get the shit beaten out of him by Thanos is almost like, oh, but you were worthy. That's so cool that you were like, because I got out of my chair when that moment happened.
It was so good. And my favorite moment isn't Mjolnir. My favorite is when he combines his shield with Mjolnir.
Yeah.
So he flings the shield so it's around him. He hits it with Mjolnir and that wow happens. And I'm like, Jesus, man, kick his up. Oh, it's intense.
It doesn't make me not like the moment or love the moment any less.
Yeah, sure.
It's just one of those things that like that moment earned a victory to me.
Yeah, man.
And when it didn't, it's always like, oh, damn it. Oh, shucks.
No, man.
Because imagine though if that had led straight to Tony stealing the thing, and we would have had it all at once. It might have been. I don't know. I'm not telling people how to do their jobs.
Yeah, 100%. Intercut them with Captain Marvel coming down and go to toe with him.
So maybe Captain Marvel beats the shit out of him.
Do you know what I mean?
He grabs the stone, punches her away, and then as he's about to do the thing. We see the hammer rise.
Oh, okay.
He does the thing while he's getting the shit beaten out of him. He flips around and he goes to click and realizes he doesn't have the stones because Tony swiped him. I don't know.
I would have. The one thing I have a little bit of gripes with, or not to make it any better or any different. This is just me kind of hypothesizing. Really.
Yeah. And this is all we're doing. We're just talking shooting shit.
But I would have preferred it because. I would have preferred it to be the original Avengers against him. Have Hawkeye and the Hulk come out of nowhere.
What the fuck's Hawkeye going to do?
I don't know. I don't fucked if I know, but he's gonna give it his all.
He does try.
He's gonna give it his all. Like he's more. He'd be the one who's not trying to hit him in the face. More still the gauntlet off him.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Whereas use arrows to shoot the stones out of the glove,
or something like that.
Yeah.
And I wanted that scene where we finally, because we didn't get the Hulk versus Thanos. We did a little, but he got his ass fucking handed
Hulk doesn't
to him.
Get to.
He doesn't. We didn't see a Hulk moment.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's funny, like for a movie that does such a good job wrapping it all up. You're never going to please everybody, 100%. And the amount of things that we saw was so rewarding and so great. Amazing. But still, that's the kind of people, that's the kind of fans you are.
Yeah.
You can't help, because we love the Hulk so much as well, and we love Hawkeye. I really love Hawkeye. I know, and a lot of people don't.
You do.
Like we want to see them have their moment as well,
exactly.
And they kind of got their moments. But
Hawkeye definitely got.
You kind of want
Hulk,
them all,
not really, but yeah,
to like just piss on Thanos. It's just like each get their time to be like, "Ha, gotcha.
I got you." Yeah,
just at least once.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my number one.
I mean, of course. Please. And look, that sequence will come up again later.
It will
for sure. What should we do next, Nick?
Oh,
should we do our?
Let's go to. Should we go to? We always go to this later. Let's go to saddest. Let's go from action to saddest.
Sure.
Do you want to do that? Just to get it out of the way, and then after that we can do our funniest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to let's do our what I like to call uncontrollable sobbing.
Oh, is that what you called it?
Yes.
I called it. I don't know what I called it. I called it. The saddest moment ever of last year.
Yeah, look, mine, obviously I cry for different reasons in movies. Sure. My runner-up, though, is a pretty legitimate, sad moment. My runner-up is from the film Judy.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a sequence in Judy right around the middle, which I really think clarifies what the movie is trying to say. And it's a sequence where Judy Garland was flown over to London to do this concert series. Yep. And it was right towards the end of her life. Her popularity was waning, but it was an opportunity for her to make some money so that she could keep her kids.
Sure.
Right? So she found it kind of was left with no other alternative.
Sure.
And look, she wasn't in the greatest state at this point, so she was drinking a lot. She was really flaky, was sometimes coming up on stage and really not in the best state to be performing, rocking up late, all this kind of stuff. Anyway, after one of the gigs, she just kind of leaves the theatre late because she would kind of sit in her room and ponder what the fuck she's doing.
Yeah.
And there's a elderly gay couple that have waited for her.
Oh.
An elderly British gay couple.
Yeah.
And they are just so happy to see her. So ridiculously happy to see her.
Jesus.
And
I'm about to watch this. You're not going to ruin this movie for you, are we?
No, it's not. Okay. It's not like it sits nicely in the middle of the movie. It's just it's actually a little interlude from the story that I actually think makes the whole movie a lot stronger.
Right.
And so these guys talk about how much they love her, blah blah. And she's doing the thing, and then she kind of just goes, "Do you want to get something to eat?" And of course, they flip out. They're like, "Oh my god, we're about to go have dinner with Judy Garland."
Jesus.
Anyway,
what year is it at this point?
Oh, I wouldn't know. Sorry,
okay. That's all right. That's all right.
I'm not certain. I think 70s.
Okay.
I don't know.
Cool. That's all right. That's all right.
Anyway, so they kind of wander around for a bit and can't find anything open.
Yeah.
So she's just like, "Well, I'll just come to your house, I guess."
Shit.
And of course they're like, okay, sure. And they try to make her dinner and they fuck it up because they don't have the ingredients, and they're laughing about it and they're telling stories and they're having a drink.
Yeah.
And they one of them falls asleep and his partner has a conversation about how hard it is for them and how ostracized they've been and the things that they've had to face, the terrible things. And he jumps on a piano and she starts singing and he just breaks down.
Right.
Because he's just completely overwhelmed by that moment. Yeah. That this icon for homosexuality, really, who was just these people are so in love with this woman and what she, and how open and honest and loving she was, is just in his living room singing with him. And he's just completely overwhelmed by it. And it broke me completely. I just found it so utterly beautiful and really not overplayed at all. He just, it didn't feel like that was the way it was going. It didn't feel like it was manipulating us into it. It just kind of happened and it felt like a really natural human response to that.
Yeah.
And it made you really consider, we always knew Judy Garland was like Judy Garland. She's just, she's an icon.
Yeah.
But you sometimes don't think about the effect it has on like singular people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it makes you think about all this kind of celebrity fascination. Like there are people there that really admire celebrities to a point where they mean a great deal to them, like personally.
I think you're onto something. This is a story, kind of a little left field, but it totally has something to do with it. When I think it has a lot to do with singers as well. Actors so much, yes, but more to do with singers because music is attuned to moments in our lives, no matter what happens, right? When Prince died, my wife was quite affected because when she went to work that day, one of her colleagues, who was just one of those commonplace fucking assholes, was like, "You didn't know who he was, so why do you give a shit?" Right? And before she said anything, someone stepped in and went, "You don't know what Sam has gone through. So maybe Prince has helped her through some things.
Yeah.
Maybe he's been with her with good times and bad. So, you're seeing, like, that's why we mourn these people, because it's a part of us that has gone
100%.
So, I totally understand.
Yeah.
That scene would have been decent.
And I think it was a really nice portrayal of that exact feeling. Right. And I think sometimes we don't always acknowledge that with our celebrity relationships.
Yeah.
Like if I hear, another dumb shit say,
why
do you get to have an opinion? You just entertain me.
Wow.
Like that real terrible mentality that people just do not understand the role of entertainment or entertainers in our lives.
Yeah.
And I thought it really just captured it lovely. And
nice.
it was honestly a beautiful moment in a film that I think is very, very good.
Yep.
I think there are some problems, but I think overall it's quite strong.
Yep.
And that was one of the strongest moments for me, for sure.
It's my next Oscars watch, I think.
She is extraordinary.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome. Bring it on. My first runner-up, I'll mention it real quick. We're going to talk about it later, I'm sure.
Sure.
Is not the eulogy, but the I Love You 3000. And how that kind of... Exactly. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Why are we so in tune?
Yeah,
What's going on?
of course.
Really?
Like, my first is I've just written like the last 30 minutes of Endgame.
Yeah, right. Right.
Because for me, it encapsulates the entirety of that sequence. So not just because there is Cap being worthy, there is On Your Left, there is all the little moments during the splash page battle.
Spidey losing Tony in front of his eyes.
Yeah. Then, of course, there's the death, there's the funeral, there's everybody's reaction to it. There's Pepper's just beautiful. Like, the stuff between Pepper and him, so beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's just the whole
videology of him saying, I love you 3000. And
it's nuts. Ooh. So, I'm with you. I had that as my number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, pretty much from that moment, I was just like, fucking, God. Like,
it was intense. It was intense. It was full on. It was full on. We'll talk about a little bit more about Endgame later, I'm sure. That was my runner-up because, and I'm not going to talk about this because this is still very fresh out of the box for some people. My second one, and I'm literally just going to say a sentence because if you haven't seen Jojo Rabbit,
sure,
yeah, I'm just going to say Mum's Shoes. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
I have not seen Jojo Rabbit yet.
Please, and everyone should because it. Believe the hype. Go see it.
Yeah, it's good.
Jesus Christ, he's a great filmmaker.
Yeah, I got 2 weeks. 2 weeks to smash them all out.
Not only the beautiful thing I will say about it is that he knows how to handle, just. Deep tragedy and just with a slice of comedy at the same time. Even out, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's so funny and yet so moving at the same time.
It does not surprise me in the least because that's exactly what you felt during most of Hunting for the Wilder People, most of even What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a master of,
he knows what he's doing.
Of that kind of, it's happy sad.
Yeah.
The happy sad feeling.
Which is why, I don't know, I hope he gets more of the Rains, a little bit more of Love and Thunder. I hope it's more him. Because I feel that Ragnarok was a little too studio for him. There wasn't that feeling that we've just felt in those films.
No, there wasn't. Definitely.
In Ragnarok.
Yeah. Ragnarok was all the other stuff that he does really well.
It was the comedy side.
But was missing a bit of
up to 11. Exactly.
was missing a bit of that kind of
but you had
extra bit that I like.
But you could have had those moments. You've got 2 brothers and a sister. you could just write itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, oh,
for sure.
man.
I think we're the only people in the world that don't rate
Ragnarok. I know. And I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
I'll watch it again.
I've watched it twice now because I just chucked it on when it was on Stan one day and just because I was like, yeah, look, maybe I was a bit too harsh on it. I think and I've always thought this, it's fine. Yeah. It's totally good.
Sure.
But I think because it gets praised so heavily as like it's the only
Everyone's
good,
like, it's the only good Thor movie. I'm like,
no,
sorry about that. Number one is, that was mine. Yeah, nice. Shall we? What shall we do next, Tyson?
What do we want to do? Do we want to do our favourite horror movie moment?
Oh yes,
very nice. Yes. All right, well you can go first, Nicholas.
All right, let me go first. All right. Oh, okay. So my runner-up is from It Chapter 2.
Sure.
The pharmacy scene. When Eddie Kaspbrak goes back to the pharmacy and he sees his mum. He's having... Pennywise is playing with him and he sees his mum. She's kind of chained up. And I forget the actual what's happening to her. But he has to leave. He's like, no, I have to leave. And she's like begging him, no, Eddie, don't leave me.
She's in like a dentist chair or something, isn't she? Yeah.
And then the leper comes out of nowhere and you're like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
So that is the moment that is a moment of contention for some people and me included.
Yep.
Why does he vomit and just call me Angel of the Morning start playing?
That ruins the scene for me.
That ruins
it. The vomit, I don't care. Keep the vomit. It's the fucking song that ruined it.
I don't understand. Is it meant to be a joke?
Is it meant to be funny?
Yeah. I don't know. Because I did kind of laugh, but in a weird way where I was like, well, what the fuck is going on now? Yeah. And maybe there was...
it was trying to make it funny, I don't know.
Well, maybe there's a reference to that somewhere that we missed because it's such an odd song choice because if it's got no context, it's even weirder.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Of all the songs to choose,
but yeah, that was my major scene because it was the tension. There weren't a lot of moments in Chapter 2 for me that kind of, especially with number one, it didn't. Hold to number one at all because number one had a lot of moments in there where I was kind of on the edge of my seat going, oh Jesus, fucking get out of there, kid, run.
They really missed that element.
Yeah, where there were two for me. This was the first one.
That was a very effective scene,
that was because you had, I think the leper was down the hall and it was running walking towards him, and that's why he had to leave his mum.
Yeah,
he's like, no mum, there's a leper there, I'm going to go. I don't know whether you're real, but I got to get out of here. But it was. Yeah,
I think the one that was most like number one for me, and I think maybe I wish there had been more of, was the Bill Hader in the park, because you actually got to have that moment where you noticed things in the background again. And I felt like that was really missing from this second one. Because that was such a great choice in the first one to have just that, because you might not see it, but it just creates a sense of unease. Even subconsciously.
Are you talking about him?
How there'd be things that weren't in the foreground of the shot that were weird. Yeah. Like the librarian lady just staring like uncomfortably at Ben while he's reading the book about it and stuff like that. And it only happens, that was the only time I noticed it in It Chapter 2, was when everyone just freezes behind Richie. Mm-hmm. And it's all just blurred. It's well and truly in the background. They don't draw attention to it, but it just... Your brain just shits itself a little bit because something isn't right. So good. And that, and I'm trying to think of which moments. I would almost say the glass house scene, the Hall of Mirrors, except he does that stupid thing where he licks the glass and it ruins it.
Yeah. That scene could have been so good. That scene could have been quite.
If you had told me that there would be a scene with Pennywise in a Hall of Mirrors, my imagination makes me shit myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Not only that, but you're putting a kid where in danger where you can't do anything. Yeah. So that could have been really quite effective.
The fact that I came away from that scene,
I was like, oh wow.
I was like, oh yeah, that scene happened.
Well done.
Is very strange.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I almost. Like, spoilers for my conversation later, that almost ended up in my disappointments list.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. But I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
It Chapter 2?
Yeah.
No, neither do I. I think it's fine.
I just think, based on how much I enjoyed one, it was just...
And that's so funny, because we did, if you are to go back, listeners, Tys and myself did the original It, the 1990 miniseries, right before Halloween, because we wanted to look at it. But... You're right. The which I didn't think would happen. Like, how on earth is 1990 Chapter 2 part of this movie going to be better in the 90s than this version? And it was
like somewhat. Yeah.
There were moments in there that
there are moments that I think the miniseries did it heaps better. Which is
not the spider. Not the spider. I'm not talking about that.
No, of course
talking about other things.
Some of the character stuff. Amazingly. Even though I liked a lot of the character stuff.
Bizarre.
Yeah. Funny movie. That's going to be one of those movies that I'm going to rewatch.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to go one way or the other. I'm going to be. I'm not going to stick to my original view at all.
Really?
I know I'm either going to fucking hate it or I'm going to love it sick and be like, no, I was on the wrong train with this thing. For sure.
All right. What's your runner-up there, Tys?
Which one are we doing? Favorite horror movie moment?
Favorite scariest moment.
These aren't particularly scary for me.
Okay.
But these are just moments from horror movies that I enjoyed the most. My runner-up is from a movie called Ready or Not. Did you see Ready or Not?
I did not.
Cool. So this is a movie, one of those horror movies where the premise is so fucking good, but unfortunately the movie doesn't quite live up to
it.
Okay. Yeah. Not that it didn't land. I think it's a movie where you end up watching the whole thing and at the end you go, there are some excellent moments in that and the premise carries you through.
Yep.
But for a premise that good, it's a little bit disappointing that the movie isn't better. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's a solid 3-star movie for me. Okay. That was my opinion of it in the end.
Sure.
And I think the premise is potential for 5 stars.
Okay. Potential for 5 stars.
Yeah, it's so good when you think about it.
Jesus. Okay.
So it's kind of a spoiler, but so I don't want to say too much. But
okay.
There's Samara Weaving, who I quite enjoy, who is marrying into this family, and they have some strange rituals on wedding days.
The family does.
The family does.
Okay.
Now, without going into too much detail, because I think that's some of the fun of it, there are some deaths.
Okay.
And my favourite moment from this movie is that the way that the help are disposed of, because there are 3 maids that work in this house.
Okay.
And we're dealing with a horror movie, so people die. I'm not spoiling shit. But the 3 maids all meet their fate.
Sure.
And the way they meet their fate is specifically designed to be comedy.
Okay.
It's it's comedic moments. It's completely out of the blue every time it happens. Mm-hmm. And it's like a running gag that these maids just keep getting murdered.
Right.
In the most ridiculous ways. So you'll be watching the movie, it'll just be unfolding, blah, blah, blah. And something really quick will happen and a maid will be missing a head. And you're like, holy shit, out of nowhere, the most extreme, gruesome violence, and these poor maids just keep copping it.
Right.
And I loved it. Sick.
Nice.
It was a movie that constantly juggled the comedy with the horror. Mm-hmm. I think it didn't always land, but for me, those moments were incredibly effective. Okay. One of which involves a auntie or a grandmother with one of the most amazing death stares that I've ever seen in my life. Who, is impossible not to love as a character.
Is this movie leaning more towards the horror or more towards a comedy? Would you say? You don't know.
Comedy.
Okay.
I think you're never not having a good time watching it.
Okay.
And I don't think you're ever not meant to have a good time watching it.
Okay.
I think if you squirm, it's because it's designed to be a bit of a fun experience. Yeah. Nice. So there's some moments of violence and some pretty fucked up, gnarly shit in it.
Yeah.
But it never feels mean-spirited.
Oh, really?
It's always got a bit of tongue in cheek going on.
Okay.
And the last 2 minutes or so are honestly outrageous. One of the most ridiculous finales I've ever seen.
I love a good ending.
Yeah, so that's Ready or Not. That was my second favorite horror movie of the year.
That.
Horror movie moment of the year.
Of the year. I like it.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
Well, mine is literally going back to chapter 2 again.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Sure. I hope I didn't blow it by talking about some other stuff.
No, I would have held you up. But yeah, only because I watched a few horror movies. Nothing jumped out at me. I watched Midsummer. I was gagging at the bit for that because that's my man who did Hereditary.
Yeah.
Ari. But yeah, I watched that. I watched the remake of Pet Sematary last night. Yeah, don't do that, people. But no, it's from It Chapter 2. It's Mrs. Kirsch.
Oh, okay, sure.
My God, that was the bit where I was especially because that bit was at the start, almost at the start of the movie.
Yeah, I think that was the first when they split up to go find their things.
So she got hers first. She should have been last, but yeah. Anyway, so It Chapter 2, starting off the way that it does, Tyson. Remember we talked about this and. You told us and our audience that's how the book starts. Remember, with the hate crime, and that kind of set the. I was like, okay, this is we're in. This is going to be good. This is going to be, scary and
It's a pretty effective sequence for sure.
Yeah, really disturbing. And it was fine, and then Mrs. Kirsch happened. So Beverly Marsh goes back to the house that she grew up in, and of course, a lady is living there now. Her name is Mrs. Kirsch, and that actress, whoever she is, she was petrifying. It was the fact that she was sweating so much.
Yes.
It was the fact that when she said a sentence and they were having tea, sitting there, and then she just froze.
Yeah.
We're talking a good 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh
they
my
stretched that
God.
out.
And she didn't move. Beverly didn't know what to do. And then after that, Mrs. Kirsch goes, and while Beverly's looking around her house at old photos or whatever she's looking at, we see Mrs. Kirsch run past the kitchen, and she's naked.
Yeah.
And then she runs down the hall and turns into a ginormous Mrs. Kirsch. And I shat myself. I thought,
did you really?
Fucking hell, that is scary as hell.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that was so fucking well done.
I think everything up to Monster Kirsch was great. I think
you didn't like Monster Kirsch?
I was just like, oh yeah, okay, that's what we're going with. Okay.
No, I loved it. I loved it sick. And especially because, but that's the thing, like that's where the movie peaked for me.
Sure.
Once that hit, it was all downhill.
Yeah, no,
I was like,
enough.
damn it, that's goddamn, that it tried its best.
There's some great moments in the finale.
There are. The very end.
I've got to watch it again.
Especially with Eddie.
Yeah. We just got to watch it again.
We do.
I'm so torn on that movie. It's so interesting.
Could have been so good, man.
I don't think that's
so good, but we don't know. Let's because especially because we built, and this is the thing. I'm not a big. I don't like, and this happened to me recently. We'll talk about this maybe in a future coming episodes.
Yep.
That a film that is built up. I always say this, and this is why you should. If a movie that you hear is good, or that you see the trailer and you think that's going to be good, see it as soon as possible, because the last thing you want is people either saying that it's bad and kind of skewing your judgment, or, which normally happens to me, people raving about it and then that kind of skewing.
And then we get defensive because we're like, don't fucking tell me what I'm going to like.
Exactly. And not only that, you go into it and go, well, you're full of shit because it wasn't that good.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
I don't even like having that response, but I can't help it sometimes.
I hate that response.
Because it's,
it wasn't that good. Calm down.
I tend to just, I'm in a frame of mind now where I just kind of read a few one-liners from reviews just to get a feel for stuff.
Sure.
Like I might look at the Metacritic score or something and just get a gist.
Get a gist.
But the thing is, unless it's like a 20 on Metacritic,
right,
you've got no idea whether or not it's going to be good or not, because it's such a wide scale.
Exactly.
Yeah, everyone's opinion's different. If you know some critics that you tend to share an opinion with, and I have a few that I trust, that I know if they like something, it's fairly certain that I'll like it too.
Yeah.
I just go to them, and that's it. I trust them. And I get a consensus, but
nice.
That's about, because you're right. It can be really damaging to the way we.
You don't want to. I hate when it does that.
Yeah, for sure.
It really does. There's a lot of movies that are out there that aren't great that we are big fans of. Waterworld, for one of them.
Sure.
We love Waterworld, Tys.
Yeah.
I think we're the only ones, but that's okay.
No, people like Waterworld.
Do they?
Yeah.
God.
Some.
The one that's really, that a lot of, because we've done the last episode films of the decade, everyone was like, oh yeah, where's Interstellar on your list? And I was like,
why do people say that?
Yeah. So many people said that to me, Tyson.
Oh, right.
Do you know what it's done? It's turned me into, you know what? Interstellar wasn't that fucking good. So you want to go fucking shove it. But I've seen it once. People, I don't know. I need to watch it again. It's sitting on my shelf. I'll watch it again.
Yeah.
It'll get there. Good. But please. Oh, full
on. Nicholas.
Tyson.
It's me.
You're up.
Yeah, my favorite horror movie moment. So,
go on.
This movie is probably the biggest surprise for me for the year, this movie on the whole.
Okay.
In that I hoped it would be good, and it turns out that I adore it.
Ooh.
And that is Dr. Sleep.
Oh, yeah. Tyson, how was it?
I love it.
Really?
Absolutely love it.
Really?
And it may be coming up later. But
okay.
There's a particular, in this instance, we're just going to talk about one particular moment, and it was my favourite moment from the film. Now, it's still, obviously, I don't want to spoil this because it's actually one of the great surprises of the film as well.
Yeah.
So it's hard to kind of talk around, but I'll do my best. And it's, of course, about Danny Torrance as a grown man, Ewan McGregor, giving just an incredible performance. I really, really, really liked what he did.
Okay.
And being a sequel to The Shining,
mm-hmm.
it, of course, involves the Overlook Hotel.
Sure. Oh, it does. Okay, sure.
Well, if you've seen the trailer, you know that they end up in the Overlook.
Yeah.
And the movie, this movie is as much about alcoholism and how we deal with alcoholism as the original Shining was as well.
Sure.
Kubrick obviously took it in a slightly different direction, but the book is very concerned with alcoholism as, you know, as our literal demons.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
And so that's obvious with having a character whose father basically tried to murder them because he couldn't, you know, make peace with his demons, literal demons. In the case of that book, he's obviously going to have drinking issues.
Sure.
And so there is a scene towards the end where he has a conversation with somebody, and they are offering him a drink,
right?
And kind of forcibly trying to get him to take a drink, and it's the scene where he kind of makes peace with who he is, as someone that is an alcoholic who is able to get through that, and also make peace with the fact that his father
he's not his father, sort of thing.
Well, no, yeah, he's not his dad, but his dad was a very tortured person,
right? And
maybe that hate is not worth it,
okay,
because you can't hang on to that,
right?
and you can't blame him for where you've ended up,
okay.
And it's a really cathartic experience, and he doesn't take the drink. That's not,
no spoilers.
It's, you know, it's. If he did, I think it'd be a very different movie. And it for me, I just found that whole sequence, and there's more to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to it, which makes it even better and more poignant and very, very, very cool. But I don't want to spoil that.
Sure.
So,
okay. And this was Dr. Sleep is a book written by Stephen King.
Yeah.
Have you read Dr. Sleep?
No, it's sitting on my shelf, fresh.
Right.
Crisp pages.
Because this is, I would like to watch it. The Shining is one of my favorite horror movies.
Sure.
And maybe my favorite Kubrick. I'm not sure. But just to have this film made, that's kind of a feat on its own, because who was the director for Dr. Sleep?
It's Mike Flanagan.
That's some big shoes to go up against. He's not filling them.
No.
He's going, no, I'm going to do a sequel to a Kubrick film.
He's balanced. It's part sequel to the film, part sequel to the book.
Okay.
He takes some elements from the book and changes them to suit the film.
Sure.
And then changes some elements from the film in order to suit the book.
Okay.
So it's a very interesting kind of mixed bag.
Okay.
You can't see it as a direct sequel to the film. But it does have elements to it.
Okay.
And they are really effective, I think, in the way that they present them. There's a prologue essentially to Dr. Sleep, the movie.
Previously on The Shining.
It's kind of a previously on.
Yeah.
And it shows us as well the first a month or two after Danny and his mother.
Yeah.
God.
I don't know.
Shelley Duvall.
I don't know.
Leave, trying to live their life after the Overlook.
Right.
Which is, as soon as I was watching, I was just like, oh my God, this is so good. And I was hooked. Like, the first 15 minutes got me so into this movie.
Yeah.
And it was amazing that this movie was able to maintain my interest in the whole time.
Really?
Anyway, I want to talk about it more later.
Okay.
But that was my favorite moment.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah. It's so great when a horror movie stops to allow that to happen.
Right.
This legit, because it's pretty terrifying, this movie. It's kind of a bit fantasy adventure as well. It's got amazing tone. It's literally stops in its tracks to just have a conversation. The title actually makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Jesus.
Yeah. When you watch it, I actually, because I hadn't read it,
okay,
I didn't know what the title meant either.
Okay.
And when it becomes clear in the movie, I actually found it a really great moment.
Okay, cool.
So I don't want to spoil that for anybody.
No, 100%. Yeah, I will watch this. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Sure thing.
2019, yeah.
Anyway, that was one of my favourite horror movie moments.
Okay.
Have you done your favourite?
I've done my favourite, Mrs. Kirsch.
Great.
Yeah. What shall we move on to?
Well, I think it's time for our biggest laugh of the year, I guess.
Laugh.
Our most favourite comedic moment of the year.
I do like to laugh.
I do like to laugh too. I didn't see many comedies this year, Nick.
No. I haven't seen very, very many movies of this year, Tyson. We've tried.
But I found that usually when I catch up on the year's worth of stuff,
Yeah.
I was doing like decade rewatch so that we could have lots of decade stuff for that episode. So I'm a bit behind my usual standard, but I don't really I don't seek out comedies very much. Comedies is something we put on where it's like we can't think of anything else to watch. What's the newest comedy?
Yeah, and that's where I thank my wife, because she does. She seeks comedies, which is great. So yeah, I didn't get a chance to see Good Boys. What was the other one?
I really want to see Long Shot. That's the one I'm really excited to see.
Good. But then there's Laughing At, whereas, I heard Cats is good, Tyson.
Exactly.
Or, Aladdin.
That might be our favourite comedic moment of the year.
Exactly.
The entirety of Cats.
The entirety of Cats. Or the fact that Cats got made.
Should I go first?
Please do.
So for my runner-up biggest laugh of the year, it's actually an entire performance.
Ooh.
We've done this before. We've cheated.
I've done this as well for my runner-up.
Mine is because it's so good to see the great man back.
Oh.
It's the entire performance of Eddie Murphy in Dolomite Is My Name.
Yes.
It was just wonderful to see him again. And to see him back in top form.
Full swing.
Yeah. And
I literally just watched this last night.
Yeah. He's so wonderful in this movie. He's so funny. He's so heartwarming. Yeah. He's so the Eddie Murphy that we remember. Because that's it's the thing that you kind of forget about Eddie Murphy is that, yes, he's funny as hell.
Yeah.
And can be crass funny, but he's actually really endearing as an actor. Most of the time, the reason why those movies are so good, those older movies like Coming to America, Trading Places, is because
Beverly Hills Cop,
you really care about him. He is able to, he's so easily, what's the word I'm trying to say?
Relatable,
sure.
He's more human. He's a human. He's not a superstar.
He humanises his roles really well.
Yeah.
We end up rooting for him, and
you really do in this film.
Absolutely.
You really do root for him. Oh. It was such a joyous film to watch.
Yeah, there's so much joy in this movie.
At the end of it, because Craig Brewer, the director, directs more. They do have. It's more tragedy elements to it. So this was kind of almost a flat-out comedy with drama in there.
Yeah, sure. I think you would expect there to be some kind of a
coin to drop and everything to go to shit. A late
second act fall to shit.
Yeah.
Which it kind of did because nobody wanted to buy the movie and
but it didn't let it go. It was still, you were still rooting for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it didn't leave that, which I loved.
No.
But yeah, it's such a feel-good movie. So at the end, I actually cried happy tears.
Yes.
That he was like, no, I've seen the film. I'm going to go do this. And I'm like, oh, yes, man. That was so good. But yeah.
And I like the...
What is your name, man?
And I'm not sure if I mentioned this when I talked about this in a previous episode when I said that I'd watched it.
Yeah.
But do you remember The Disaster Artist?
I still haven't seen it.
Right.
So, only because I haven't seen The Room.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm going to watch The Room first.
There you go. Yeah, you should watch The Room. Yeah. If for nothing else, just for the experience of it. It really is an experience.
Yeah.
To me, this is the movie that I think The Disaster Artist wished it could be.
Right.
Because that's a movie that presents this very strange figure who will really just work their ass off to make a movie, regardless of talent or
how it gets
funding,
done or anything.
whatever like that. It's all about passion, and they tried to do that and make him sympathizable character as well. Sympathizable. Come on. Sympathetic character as well, but I just don't think it ever worked as well.
Yeah.
And this movie does it in spades. It really does. You don't care that he's terrible at what he does. You want him to succeed so much. And that is, I think that's a lot to do with how...
But the Dolomite thing, the character and the show that he starts, it works. It really works. So
his little stand-up routines
and things like that. I think they work. I think they do really well.
It's pretty funny, isn't it?
The film would be absolutely shithouse.
Well, I've seen clips and stuff, and obviously there's clips at the end of the end of the film itself. And I've watched I've watched the trailers on YouTube.
Oh, have you?
They look really funny.
Yep.
And I've just seen clips in there, and I mean, people like the Red Letter Media guys have done heaps of videos on his movies in their Best of the Worst series and stuff. So I've seen quite a lot of his stuff. Never sat down and watched end to end. And it really does have this kind of this can-do attitude to it that you kind of respect. You're just like, yeah, you go for it, Rudy. Why not, man? Why can't you make a movie?
Exactly. Get your film out there.
Yeah.
Stuff them.
Exactly right.
So good.
You do what you got to do, buddy.
So good.
So yeah, that was my runner-up moment.
Nice. Well, mine is also a performance.
Yes, right.
By little Archie Yates in Jojo Rabbit. Now,
cool.
That's not the main dude. That's his friend.
His sidekick,
His sidekick, yeah. I'm not going to actually talk about what he does because it's still fresh and I want people to see it.
Sure.
What I will talk about right now though is there was a little Archie doesn't know the actor. Someone filmed him reading tweets about Jojo Rabbit,
right.
and they filmed it.
Sure.
Now, little Archie doesn't know some of these people.
Okay.
And he was reading out celebrity tweets.
Oh, wow.
So there was a time where, this person is... And it's such a beautiful... He's got that thick New Zealand accent.
Oh, yes, very good.
And he just comes out and he's so cute and so bubbly. He goes, I forget who it was, but it was someone along the lines of, Martin Scorsese says, I had a really good time watching Jojo Rabbit. Oh, thanks, Martin. I don't know who you are, but thanks. That was so beautiful. Oh my God.
Bless.
But yeah, everything that this kid does, and there's a moment at the end there where it's so cute it almost brings you to tears. He's so good. Even if this kid he doesn't need to do anything else. If he wants to be an actor, great. If he doesn't, that's fine. He's made his mark. Like, it was such a beautiful moment. Every little moment of him in this film. He was such a good friend to Jojo. Like, it was such a...
Yeah.
It was lovely. It was so lovely.
I'm very excited to see it. I just feel like it's such an exciting premise for a film.
Yeah.
That I just kind of and also one that I'm fascinated by how they can pull this off. So I'm really excited to see
I don't
that
want to
movie.
build it up too much, but yes.
No,
yeah,
look, I think
definitely.
I'm a little lukewarm with Taika's stuff. Like I've both What We Do in the Shadows and Hunt for the Wilder People. I really enjoy.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't raving about them.
Oh, okay.
I think what the general consensus of them was. Yeah, I like What We Do in the Shadows, but I just
see that.
Yeah, I don't share quite as much enthusiasm for them as I know some people do.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for him to make a movie that I really, really connect with and love and have that passionate kind of like I want to champion that movie.
Yeah.
This might be it. Who knows?
There you go.
Who knows?
So that was my runner-up.
Right. Well, my biggest favourite kind of comedic moment of the year, biggest laugh of the year is from a movie that probably isn't really a comedy at all. But it's
Go on.
It's just the surprising appearance of a flamethrower in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I have to be honest that I should have known. I should have known.
God.
We know Tarantino. And we know how his movies end. We know that he likes to have an explosion of violence. But I was
what an explosion. Jesus Christ.
I was so caught off guard. Do you know what? That whole explosion of violence thing, it's funny because it's only really been in the last 4 or 5 movies. He's just developed a knack
since Kill Bill.
for his movie. Well, Kill Bill didn't have it at all at the end.
No, that was the point. It had it throughout.
It had it throughout, and then the end of Kill Bill 2 is actually like just a conversation and someone walking away.
And then a 5-finger death punch.
Yeah.
So good.
But yeah, like if you think of Inglourious Bastards, Django, Hateful Eight,
Jesus,
and now this, it's movies where the tension just simmers and then the violence releases. I've never found it more funny though before. I think in Inglourious Bastards you can kind of laugh at the ridiculousness of it all.
Yep.
And there are some, we've talked about it when we did our episode on Django, there are some moments like when he shoots the maid and she just goes flying out the door.
So far out the door.
There are moments when, yes, you can laugh because it's staged in a particular way, but this I felt was like a legitimate comedic moment. The timing was fantastic.
It was a can to the face.
God.
I
mean, that moment, of course, like everything with Brad Pitt and the other ones, but when Leo is just in the pool listening to his Walkman.
He's just chilling out, man.
Just chilling out. And this crazy woman falls into the pool. And his response when he freaks out and he's like, what the fuck is going on, is to go into his garage and get the prop flamethrower and just walks out with the ciggy hanging out of his mouth and just like,
in his underwear and just goes, well, eat this shit. And just flames her to death.
Especially considering that it only appears in one other point of the movie, which is also a fantastic laugh where he's just like, it's a bit hard, isn't it? And the guy's like, it's a flamethrower.
It's a flamethrower. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to do this. Oh, God, that was funny.
Yeah, and I honestly, I don't know if I'm meant to find it as funny as I did. I feel like...
I did. I think it is. I think it's the release of the tension.
I think that's what it is, yeah. I think you're right, and I think he achieved that very well. But I was audibly laughing in the cinema at that moment. I was like a weird, crazy man Like, I was the Cape Fear. I was De Niro in Cape
There were so
Fear
many
sitting at
moments
the
in
back,
this
just
movie.
eating up the back with a cigar while this poor person. This crazy murderer burns alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, God, what a moment.
There were so many moments in this movie when Sam and I laughed out loud audibly in the cinema. And this cinema, we were in I felt like I was watching it with dead people.
Sure.
They did not laugh at anything. Nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose you got to choose your audience you've got to choose your cinema for a Tarantino movie, I reckon.
I think so. We went gold class, and these were it was
right.
Probably not the best. I needed to go to the Astor to see it.
Well, you either need, and you can't go anywhere too pretentious either,
exactly.
because they'll be like, if you're laughing, they'll be like, excuse me,
why are you laughing? That woman is burning alive.
This is Tarantino's newest
how dare you
masterpiece.
Laugh? That's not.
Can we please have a bit of shush?
Are you playing with your phone?
You have to go to one of those ones where you can drink.
Exactly.
And it's a bit dingy. That's the cinema to see this in, because you'll get a lot of people who appreciate the fact that Tarantino is actually got a real wicked sense of humor.
He does.
But yeah, so that was
that was almost mine.
Yeah, cool.
It was almost mine.
Nice.
Flamethrower in the pool.
Oh my God, it's
Jesus
so good.
Christ.
So
I need to watch that again. That was a good movie.
I can't wait to watch it again, to be honest. It's going to be probably one of the quickest purchases of films this year for me, I think, because I'm really geared to watch it again. I can tell
you're ready to go,
that I'm ready to go again. And it was also, we might talk a bit more about it later.
Okay, mine is a movie that I've been championing all year.
Champagning.
It is Booksmart.
Ah, yes, very good.
I'm actually really sour that this didn't get a little bit more Oscar love, but that's okay.
Did it get screenplay at all in the end?
And no, it did not.
So it didn't get anything, because that was kind of where I was thinking.
It got Globes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's going to be really difficult, and I feel like I've been doing this a lot. But this it's not a moment; it's a scene in Booksmart. Now, I can't pinpoint it. All I can say is that it's the first. So, Booksmart is about two girls. They're about to go to their last day of high school before they go to uni.
Yep.
Or before they, have that break before they go to uni.
Yes.
Anyway, they go to school, and it's their last class, but first of the day. And I would love to know, especially because you're a teacher, Tyson.
Oh, yes.
If kids are like this, because I feel that they kind of are. What it is and what you're getting is very different from the high school movies of the 80s and 90s.
Sure.
You are getting kids who know, number one, they're all in year 12, so they are basically young adults. Mm-hmm. They've grown up with these people for the year. They've sat in this class for that year. So towards the end, they kind of know which buttons to push on who. They know who to shut the fuck up and tell to sit down. Mm-hmm. They know that when they're kind of being a bit arsey and they're like, dude, can you sit down? You're kind of a dick. Sort of things like that. So this scene is just, you don't see the class happen. You see them come in. Yep. You see them talk, the amazing actresses, which are, I need to say the names, Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein, go and talk to the teacher about, and they're big nerds, so they're talking about the crossword that they did, and the teacher does the same crossword, and they both, they love it, and they're like, well, how are we going to, we're not going to see you next year, so it's okay, we're going to Skype the crossword to you, we'll still see, it's little things like that, and it's so cute, but it's just the offhanded jokes that are really quick.
Sure.
And if you laugh at it, you're going to miss the next one.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? So it happens quite fast, and it's so good, and it's just the students talking or ripping each other down.
Sure.
And that's it. And it's sublime. And it sets the movie up for just one of my favourite gems of this year. And that's all I'm going to talk about that moment, because this movie is going to come up later.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, yes, kids do that.
Yeah, right.
And if they do it to you, it usually means that they are comfortable enough with you as your teacher that they can also rib you a bit. And
okay.
It's actually it's quite
warming,
comforting, because you know that when you want that they will actually listen to you,
right? If
they start giving you shit about things, it's kind of like, oh yeah, okay,
all right, I'll play that.
Yeah, every now and then they are so funny. Some of my kids, really? Every now and then, and when they're hanging shit on me too, sometimes they find the funniest, perfect little thing to say, and I'm like, oh my God, that is
like what?
So
you have
accurate.
to give me something now.
No, I'm not spoiling that. But kids are funny.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, very good.
Book smart, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a bit of a turn.
Oh, yes.
We're going to get into our disappointments of the year, Nicholas.
Oh, okay.
So, like we always try to say this. We did this for our decade episode.
We did.
We're not necessarily hanging shit on these movies.
No, we wanted these to champion.
We wanted these to be great.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, our opinion of them was that they were not great.
Oh, God
I've got 3,
it.
Nick. How many have you got?
You've got 3. I can do 3, Tyson.
You want to do 3?
I can do 3.
Yes.
Shall
We've got time to do 3.
We've got time to do 3.
We can smash them.
Nice.
I'll start.
Please do.
My first one is a movie from very early in the year that I didn't get to see until about halfway through the year. And that is Glass.
Tyson, this is my first one as well.
Okay, very good. Because if there was anyone that was excited about this movie, it was us. We were talking this up. Oh, we liked the trailer. We were very excited when we finally saw the trailer. We both fucking shat our pants when we saw the end of Glass. No, what was it called? Split.
It was massively disappointing.
And then this turned out to be a really underwhelming conclusion to a trilogy that started with one of my favourite films of the early 2000s.
Early 2000s, yeah. Unbreakable.
In Unbreakable, and a fantastic follow-up that really came out of nowhere in Split.
Yeah.
That wasn't even a follow-up as far as anyone was said.
No, everyone just thought it was a...
Secret sequel.
Oh, Tyson's fave.
My favourite.
He loves its secret sequel.
I prefer a secret prequel. But I'll take a secret sequel. Yeah, so, and then to have Glass come along and just be kind of nothing... It wasn't even that bad. It was just kind of... And
that's the thing, and that is kind of worse.
Yeah.
That is really worse for me.
Right,
especially if I'm watching a film, if you're going to be bad, be bad. Be cats. Fuck it. People will see that.
Yeah.
If you're going to be good, be amazing. If you're mediocre, if you're the middle of the road, there is obviously nothing worse, because not only have you wasted my time, you've just disappointed me at the same time.
Yeah.
If I'm going into Cats, I know it's going to be bad.
I know. And it didn't even really take any big swings either.
No.
And that's disappointing. Like this for a film that's based around really grand ideas about superheroism and like responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think it lives by that great power, great responsibility ethos like really well, and in a very realistic way. It's kind of just a bit it's just a bit of a it's like a single issue comic. Like it's like a what if story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, so you've got these wonderful characters, and just it's like one of those or like an episode of Buffy where or like any kind of
reality.
any weird sci-fi show from the 90s and 2000s where they always had at least one Sliders when they had an alternate reality episode, and at the end of it something happened and it all went back to normal, and we all kind of went, oh, isn't that glad that because it could have been like
happened.
It could have been like that. And it's an interesting curiosity to see it in a different environment. But as the conclusion to this trilogy, it's really disappointing.
So can you remind me again, because I've wiped this from my mind.
Okay, sure.
They're not superpowered?
Yeah, they are.
They are, right.
Yeah. But the secret society is trying to convince the world that they don't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, should I watch this again? I'm not going to give it another... Should I give it again?
I am kind of torn.
I might want to watch it again.
Because I think...
Split was so good.
Split is really fun. I was so surprised with how much I enjoyed Split.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe it's worth watching again.
Watch it again. Just give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot. And this is why it's disappointment.
If it pops up on a streaming thing, it could be a bit of fun. Like, chuck it on in like really high quality, turn the sound up, maybe turn the lights out, and just try and really soak it up. Because I found it so mediocre that I was distracted. Like, getting to points where I'd be like sitting there and I'd be like, oh, I'm going to get myself a drink. And this is my killer. If I get a drink and not pause, that's when I know I'm like, I'm not digging the movie.
Shit.
So if I go up and I pour myself something and just let it play, and I just kind of listen and make sure I'm not missing anything important and come back, that's my barometer.
Fuck, you're not into it.
For a movie I'm not into
it at all,
yeah.
man.
So maybe I need to give it its due.
All right. Maybe I'll watch it again.
Let's do that. We'll do an episode on it. It'll be fun.
That's a full pass.
Okay, sure.
No, I'm kidding.
All right, Nick, what's your next disappointment?
Let's do it on Unbreakable. How about that?
Yeah, good call.
Yeah. My next disappointment... okay, Tyson. Are you ready?
Yes.
Tyson, my next disappointment is Rise of the Skywalker.
Okay, cool. That's my next one as well, so that's fine. Let's talk about it all together. I wonder if we're going to go 3 for 3. Oh, we might go 3 for 3 on disappointments.
Well, I don't have my third, so I have to pick my third.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what to pick. Just for curiosity's sake, you might end up on it.
let me clarify before we start this conversation that there are moments of this movie that I thought were quite good.
I would agree.
What they did with Palpatine was quite fucking petrifying. Him being up on that
his design's pretty cool. Yeah,
him being up on that crane type metallic thing that almost
like
topped
keeping him alive.
Yeah, that almost topped my scariest moment of the year.
It's pretty gross,
with his
isn't it?
hands and shit. It was fucking scary. But geez, it was just what it felt like was that because we know what's happened and how we know that films are made.
Yes.
With this film coming out, it felt like, number one, JJ was on cleanup. It felt like Disney had gone, well, we didn't like where Ryan's taken it. And what they've done is listen to all the fans, and we're gonna wash away what Last did.
Yes.
Now, I wasn't a big fan of Last, but if you're going to stick to that, if you're going to do that, then stick to your guns. Don't pull out at the last second. That's ridiculous. There were, jeez. The Finn and Poe stuff just withered away to nothing. It was really
ended up being pretty much
really flaky.
Yeah,
there were even
superfluous
moments
characters in the end.
There were even moments there where Finn wanted to express his feelings and didn't actually happen.
No.
And they just left it. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like it was just a sad state of affairs, at the end. And yeah, I like what they did. Don't get me wrong. I like what they did with Leia. I thought how she went was quite nice.
I actually thought so too, to be honest.
Liked how we saw that Leia was trained by Luke. That was fucking awesome.
That was cool.
That was really awesome.
Yep.
The other major point for me, which really had me up in arms, was the fact that the original trilogy, New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
We see Luke go from farm boy to Padawan to Jedi Knight. That's it. That's what we see. Okay. Now, he is pretty strong at the end of Jedi, knows what he's doing. He seems quite powerful.
Yep.
Right? Through Rise, what is... sorry, bear with me 1 second.
Of course.
Through this trilogy, we see Rey kind of do the same thing. So we see her go from to scavenger.
Yep.
To having some powers, and then all of a sudden at mid rise of the Skywalker, she seems more powerful than Yoda. So for me, and I haven't had a time. This is just me, and this is just my opinion. We haven't had that. I need some time to pass. I need her to get good. Normally, in the scrolling words at the start of every a Star Wars film, we get those few years have passed and this has happened and this has happened and this has happened. We didn't get that. This is kind of coming off the back of Last, and all of a sudden she has healing powers.
The healing powers are weird. They felt like something that they just chucked in.
Exactly.
Because it's like, hey, check it out.
And if I meant to take them seriously, which I could have, give me reason why I'm taking them seriously. The other thing was because anyway. And the other thing was the sharing the link between her and Kylo. The lightsaber out of nowhere. I was like, you're just making up these powers now as you go along. Sure. Do you know what I mean? So
teleportation now and all this kind of stuff. Look, I think they set that up well.
It was done well.
Enough, like there was enough. But yeah, I question the validity of that being a power. Like, it's like, well, if they could do that, how the fuck have we not seen this 100 times already?
And there we go. So couple a lot of things that are either misfiring or aren't landing, and then chuck in some stuff that I can't grab a hold on, and you've lost me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Look, I echo most of those sentiments. I just think for a movie that had such big ideas and raised so many interesting questions for a movie to then be followed by one that asks no questions and has no big ideas, and just kind of gives you exactly what you want not exactly what you want, exactly what you expect, is just so disappointing because I think this is like 100% a 3-star movie.
Yeah.
Like if there ever was one. Yeah. Because it is incredibly watchable.
It's gorgeous.
It's exciting in moments. And there are legitimately great moments.
Those Death Stars coming out of the God
yeah,
damn.
it looks fantastic. There's a cameo in this that I was completely unexpected. I mean, has everyone seen this movie? Can we spoil this
Can
stuff?
we spoil this?
Spoilers for Rise of
Spoilers
Skywalker.
for Rise, because to be honest, if you haven't seen it, don't bother.
I thought the Han Solo cameo completely caught me off guard,
like that?
and I really liked it.
I like that.
I liked it a lot because it was, while I wasn't 100% on board with Kylo having a redemption story, that this is the kind of thing in my head is because I was like, okay, so the things that Rian Johnson did that were really interesting to me were the things that a lot of people didn't like. And that's fine.
Yeah.
I just found them interesting because they were challenging ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And they were all the things that he flipped back.
Yeah.
Like Kylo not actually being a redemption story, because that's the obvious route, that he's bad. Oh, I talked to my dead dad, now I'm fine.
Yeah.
So I was actually really interested in the idea that no, he's going to end up evil because he's a bratty shit.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just what happens. You can't help that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Rey just being the child of some shitbag traders.
Yeah.
And that the Force isn't something that is a birthright.
Yeah.
It's a spontaneous thing that can happen to anyone, and that's why it exists in this beautiful place where no one owns it in your name.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I found that really
it's got nothing
interesting.
to do with your fucking midichlorians.
Yeah. Oh no, she's fucking she's Palpatine's granddaughter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, oh fuck, are we really doing this?
Yeah.
Like, because that was the stuff that I found so interesting and so exciting. Luke doing saying like, I'll see you around. Like, Luke is going to be a tormenting figure to Kylo, like someone that is there like telling him, you are doing this wrong.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a single conversation with Kylo this whole movie.
No.
And even the things that I found super predictable when she's she's running and you can see she's about to throw the lightsaber into the fire, and I'm like, I would turn around in the cinema and I was like, I'll give you $1 million if it's not Luke Force Luke Ghost that catches this lightsaber right now. And he catches it and I'm like, yep, great. And look, I don't want to know that stuff.
No.
I want screenwriters that surprise me, and then sit there and Chewie.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, well, he was on a different speeder. I mean,
Where the fuck was it?
Where was it?
Where was it?
But if anyone believed Chewie was dead,
did for a split second, for 100th of a second. I was like, "You bold fuckers, well done. You're gonna cut." Oh
no, but that's not storytelling, because you can't kill him without it meaning anything to the story. It meant nothing to the story, and you were just like, "Oh, okay, sure." And I was like, "Well, he's not dead. Clearly, it was a different ship." You know, and that, be more ambitious.
Take some swings.
Take some swings. And then that second one did. And for a lot of people, it didn't hit. For me, it hit, right? And this is just a very disappointing, yet totally watchable, totally serviceable cleanup job. Yeah.
The thing that walking away from this trilogy, the thing that I am blown away that I didn't do this at the start, that George Lucas hands over. Doesn't hand over. He sells Star Wars to Disney. At that point, whoever is in charge goes, cool, let's do another trilogy.
Yep.
Who have we got on writing? They write not one, they write 3.
Yeah.
Now,
at least the story treatment.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be nitty gritty. This is where this is going to go. That's it. And if any other director can make up its own, that's fine. But this is where it's going to go.
You can then take that to other people and work on it. But make sure that you don't start number 1 until you know how number 3 ends.
Why wasn't that done at the start?
No,
why?
And it wasn't. It wasn't at all. And it's definitely resulted in. It's hard to say, but it's my least favorite of everything. Minus the prequels.
Okay. I was going to say.
Yeah. I'd watch Caravan of Courage before I watch this again.
I love Caravan, man.
Yeah, me too.
Ewoks of Endor also.
Yeah. That bit when that kid gets stuck under the ice? Fucking terrifying.
Fucking scary as hell.
Yeah, cool.
Hang on, wait. Pause.
Look,
sorry.
Let's not do the third one.
Are you sure? That was a good ending. That was...
Yeah, it's nice, and we're running late anyway. Okay, so let's just keep it with 2.
Let's keep it with 2.
Because we both had the same 2.
I like it.
And I'm not even sure I'm that disappointed by my third one. I just kind of felt like I needed a third one.
Can you...
I was going to talk about...
Give us a hint?
Yeah, no, I was going to talk about Us, because... only because...
Haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it yet?
No.
Oh, cool. No. Only because Get Out was so special to me. It sounds like it, yeah. I loved it so much that I found Us a disappointment because it just didn't touch what Get Out achieved.
Close to,
Despite it being full of really interesting ideas, similar to what I was saying about Ready or Not, a film with really great ideas that I just don't think were fully realised.
That's very similar to Hereditary and Midsommar.
Sure.
For me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, fair enough.
My wife really liked Midsommar. I'm not into... I'm just going to leave it there.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that's, I've heard that I feel like Midsommar is very divisive in that way. It's that some people, I'm hearing both sides of that story as well.
Exactly.
So, cool. Wow. Why don't we go next? Nick, I was about to say Nick and next, and I came out next.
At the same time?
Let's do the movies that were our first-time watches this year that we really like. So this is old movies that we hadn't seen before, that we watched for the first time, that we think are going to be all-timers.
In 2019, that we think are going to be all-timers.
Oh, well, like just the favourite ones that we saw this year that were our first-time watches.
Well, I do have one that is an all-timer, but I have one that's kind of it's new to me.
Sure. You've got two?
I've got two.
I've got three, so I'll go first so that we go back and forth.
Do it.
First one I'm going to mention is actually one we did an episode on.
Ooh.
And that was from 1988. That was Beaches.
Oh, shit.
How good was Beaches, man? I really enjoyed Beaches.
It was good.
And this is, it might be...
Listen to the podcast.
Listen to the episode because we actually really liked it. And not in an ironic way.
No.
Like, legitimately, I found it a heartwarming, really nice, well-told story. I think it's funny. I think it's sad. I think it's a beautiful example of friendship. It's really well performed.
I can see where the love of Bette Midler comes from. Like, she was so lovable. She was great.
And look, while I didn't, to me, it's not the, I wasn't sitting there at the end tearing my heart out like I know the reputation for that movie holds. But I found it just such a really nicely, competently made story of friendship that at the end I was incredibly satisfied. I was like, wow, I didn't expect that from a movie that I kind of thought would be sentimental trash. And it wasn't at all. So Beach is definitely one of them.
I like it.
What do you got, Nick?
My first one isn't from that long ago, but my next one is. So I really like the look of this trailer. It's 2017's The Foreigner. Now,
the Jackie Chan and Pierce Brosnan one.
I
heard this was not bad.
It was not bad, and it could have gone badly. That's the thing. It could have been not great, but I really liked it, and it's going to be one that I go back to. I know because melding together Jackie Chan with it's taking his style of movies that we all know, and mixing it with a little bit more not westernized, because it's not like Shanghai Nights or whatever the fuck that is. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Like, it's not those movies. It's not putting Jackie Chan into a comedy. No.
It's quite a serious movie, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's doing that, and it's also letting Pierce kind of use his heritage, because Pierce is Irish.
Oh, he's using the
So it's him. We're seeing the real Pierce Brosnan. He's Irish, isn't he? Have I got that wrong?
I don't think. Yeah. I might have thought he was Welsh, but I think I might be wrong.
Oh, maybe he is Welsh.
But he's got a wicked cool accent that he doesn't get to use.
Exactly.
Is what we're saying.
And
he gets to use it in this movie, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
I think you might be right. I think he's Irish. Or maybe he just did that movie about the Irish.
Can you look it up?
Yeah. Because it was like, I'll do it.
But it's such a... Now... It wavers a bit. It's not as solid as you want it to be, but geez, it's gonna get you coming back. I'm pretty sure. Like the action moments, of course, because it's Jackie Chan, nail bitingly fucking scary, and it does one of those. You know what it does? It does the Taken thing. But he is Irish.
He is
Irish. Thank you.
He's from Drogheda in Ireland.
But it takes that Taken situation. If a loved one of yours is taken from you, what would you do if you had the ability? And it does it really well. And
awesome.
I'm going to go back to it.
I'll give that a watch because that's just streamable, isn't it?
Exactly.
I've seen it popping up on like Stan or something.
Jump on it, man.
I'll give that a go for sure.
Yeah.
Nice one. All right, my next one is from 2012. I think I mentioned it in an episode when I watched it and went into a little bit of detail, so you'll have to go back. It was an early episode because I watched it quite early in the year, and that's Cloud Atlas, the Wachowskis. Cloud Atlas,
nice.
From 2012.
Yeah.
My admiration for this movie is mostly to do with how ambitious it is.
Okay.
It's rare that you see a movie that you're just like, wow, you really tried to do so much.
Yeah.
You're like, and you pulled it off, really. Like, it's, I know it's not many people's favorite movies, but it's really an amazing example of like trying to just throw everything at the wall and seeing what happens.
Right.
And a lot of this does stick. And it's kind of like it's a weird sci-fi experimental movie. It's kind of like it's a period piece. It's like Japanese anime kind of inspired segments. It's got weird kind of like post-apocalyptic segments, but it's all about the interconnection of spirits, I guess. And so if there's are we connected to people from the past and the future, and how are we connected? Are we the same person? Does our soul travel like reincarnation style and all this kind of stuff? And it's really amazing that it holds together at all, considering just how ridiculous it does go, and how many different directions and how many different storylines it's trying to maintain. And I think, the fact that it even is coherent is a miracle.
Damn.
And I'd really admire it for that reason, because at the end of it, I was really moved, and I found that it stuck together really well. So
nice.
glad
Is it long? It looks long.
Yeah, it's 2.5, maybe even close to 3.
Okay.
It's a slog, but
it looks long.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see it. That and Jupiter Ascending. I don't know why they couple together, but yeah.
Well, Wachowski's, so.
Oh, is that Wachowski's as well?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Nice. Mine is going way back, Tyson.
Oh, nice.
My next one. I've always wanted to watch this. So I remember I was working at Borders at the time, and a guy said, if you want to watch a good movie, watch this. 1955.
Oh, nice.
The Night of the Hunter.
Oh, sick.
Going back to...
I've never seen this. I want to watch it.
Jump on it. Seriously, it's so good.
Yeah, I really want to watch
it. The director, Charles Lawton, this is his only film. He acted. He was an actor.
Yeah, he was an actor.
Yeah. But this is so good, especially because... storyline-wise, it's about a Deep South preacher who is actually a serial killer.
Yep.
And finds out that 2 kids have a stash of money from their father or family that he knows about and he's trying to get. And it is a slow burn. The tension is there. The preacher, the guy who... I think this is him. Yeah. Robert Mitchum.
Mitchum
is the serial killer, and he just walks around town saying hi to everyone, clicking and singing a song, and it is fucking haunting.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was humming it for about a week after.
Sick.
And it stays with you. The shots in it as well. The director of photography knew what he was doing, knew what he was setting up. So you're getting a lot of nice silhouettes in there.
Awesome.
You're getting It's just a really...
black and white, yeah?
Black and white, 100%.
Yeah, nice.
So
I love good black and white cinematography. I really dig it.
Yeah, really well put together movie. And of course, this has stood the test of time. Such a good movie.
Where does one watch Night of the Hunter, Nick?
That is a good question.
Did you watch it on that weird app of yours that has the old movies?
That's the one.
Yeah, right. How are the transfers on that? Are they good?
They're not bad.
Yeah, okay.
It's not bad. So the... let me have a look, because I want to tell you where it may be somewhere else tonight. I'm trying to remember what the song was, because he would hum it as well.
Yeah, right.
Fucking scary as hell.
Do you know, there's also something that I get mixed up with when people talk about the Night Hunter. Because there was...
The Night of the Hunter. That's what it's called, Tys.
Yeah, because do you remember, and this came out on DVD while we were working at JB Hi-Fi, the series that had a movie, I think, to begin it off, called Kolchak the Night Stalker?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mum is all over that. I bought that for her 2 Christmases ago, that box set.
Oh, did you?
Because she used to watch that. She loves it.
Apparently that's awesome.
Yeah.
I really want to watch it.
I bought her the box set, and then I had to buy her a DVD player because she didn't have one. She's like, no, I don't have a DVD player.
That's pretty great.
Who the fuck has a DVD player?
I love that.
I was like, okay, good point. You have to rent this, Tyson. They've taken it off, obviously. Tubi TV is where I watched it.
Oh, it was on Tubi?
It was on Tubi.
Oh, yeah. I've got Tubi. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, it was on there, but they've obviously taken it off. So, it's on Google Play. It's on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube Red or iTunes.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
nice one. All right. Well, my favorite new to me movie was from 1987. It's from one of my favorite directors, and it was one of his that I hadn't seen yet, and that's John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness.
Oh, nice.
This movie is batshit insane. It is dark. It is twisted. It is just fantastic. Really, really. The very, very kind of enjoyable darkness. Yeah, like you really find yourself sinking into it. Its view of like its apocalyptic view is infectious during this movie. Like you are so on board for it. It's kind of depressing, but not in a way where you like feel gross afterwards. It's not that kind of movie. It's kind of got this. It's still got this sense of fun to it that only John Carpenter really can handle.
Yeah.
The way he's so, because I think it is. It's not mean spirited, but it is kind of nihilistic, this movie. But even though you're still having a good time watching it. Do you know what I mean? So it's which I really appreciated. And this ties in really nicely with In the Mouth of Madness, which was one of the other Carpenter movies that I watched for the first time this year, which is, I think, what he calls his apocalypse trilogy or apocalyptic trilogy, which is The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness. And that is a great triple feature of films.
Nice.
And just being able to sit down with a movie from a director that I really admire that I hadn't seen.
He's so good.
Is such an exciting treat. Like, you know what I mean? When you just go, I've never actually seen this John Carpenter movie. I cannot wait. And sitting down and just being like, all right, let's do it. And actually at the end of it, having huge expectations and then having them met. It was really a cool experience. But yeah, Prince of Darkness, it's gross, it's violent, it's this really bizarre kind of meditation on religion and science and how do they mesh and where does evil live within that.
Sure.
Because if is evil a construct of religion or is it an actual scientific property?
Yeah.
Which is a kind of heady concept. And then it just turns into batshit crazy and people just chewing on people's limbs and stuff and zombie Alice Cooper. And
Jesus.
It's great. Get on it because it's fucking cool. But yeah, so Prince of Darkness, 1987.
I love John Carpenter, man. I need to watch more John Carpenter.
I've almost done them all now.
Yeah?
Yeah. The only one I think I'm missing is Attack on Precinct 13.
Oh, nice.
Assault on Precinct 13. I still haven't seen.
John Carpenter is actually quite scary to look at as well.
Yeah. He's such a sweet man.
Lovely.
He's so softly spoken and just he's just the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got wild hair, wild grey hair and big grey mustache.
Very scary. Tyson, I think we're up to our.
We are.
Huh?
We are.
Top 3.
Our top 3, our favourite movies of the year.
Okay.
How exciting! So we've each got 3.
We've each got 3.
Cool. All right. Should I go first, or you want to go first?
I don't know about mine now.
What do you mean you don't know about yours?
Oh, shit.
Change them if you want. You got to go with your heart, man. Go with your heart.
All right, I'm going to change them.
All right, do it.
Okay, I'm changing them.
All right, well, I'll go first while you change it.
Please do.
So I'm going to 3, 2, 1, but the order is arbitrary.
Okay. You're going to 3, 2, 1 the order.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I'm just picking one to talk about. So I'm going to talk about first Parasite.
Sure.
Which, is a movie that doesn't feature in any of my other categories, mostly because it's impossible to define the genre of this movie.
Yes, it is.
Which I really loved. I definitely wouldn't call it a horror film, even though I think it was kind of marketed that way.
Yeah, why was it marketed like that?
I wouldn't call it a comedy, even though it has funny moments in it, or moments that you laugh at, perhaps out of discomfort. Mm-hmm. I think the closest things it comes to is like a satirical thriller, I think.
Sure. It's more of a thriller. I would agree with that.
But it sits in this really weird place where it exists to kind of make you really aware of a certain socio-political kind of era that we're in at the moment and shine a light on it in a way that I think is incredibly effective because it's not at all realistic. I mean, certain elements are realistic, but I think where it ends up, it's it's obviously a kind of a fantasy in that sense, but it really reflects where we're at in this time, and I think how that kind of lower middle class is kind of disappearing at the moment. Yeah, and you're either dirt poor or filthy rich, and we're kind of we're losing that middle spot. Yeah, and this movie really kind of does a wonderful job of showing us the extremes of that. And there's so many great moments in this movie. There's obviously a turn about halfway through that. If you don't know what this movie is about,
or if you don't know the director,
if you don't know the director, which I just want to make sure I say his name right, Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho,
because I always say it incorrectly. Bong Joon-ho. Yep. If you knew him going in,
you would know what to expect.
It was perhaps not the biggest. I mean, the events were a surprise regardless what actually happens, but knowing that some weird shit was going to happen or something a bit out of control, I don't think that's as big a shock knowing the director. But there's the turning point. There's the importance of how somebody smells. There's there's a sequence to do with peach fuzz that plays almost like a heist scene from like an Ocean's movie. There's so many. There is one particular shot that is through a child's POV. when he thinks he's seen a ghost.
That is fucking petrifying.
That is incredible. There's the way this one particular part of the house kind of disappears into darkness, and it's just filmed that way. And so anytime people come in and out, it's like they're emerging from nowhere. Which plays such an important part in the overall, thematic kind of concept of the film. It's a film that is incredibly rich with ideas that requires multiple watches. Even after I saw it, though, I remember there was some little moments that people had picked up in dialogue afterwards that had gone completely over my head the first time that I was watching it, that foreshadow all the events. Like, it's really well structured. The screenplay is outstandingly strong. I did find that sometimes I don't love translations to English that I feel like just miss the nuance of conversational style sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether or not that's just something
it's not being translated.
Well,
enough.
I did read up on this, and it has.
Oh, really?
There's a very specific person that worked on this, who is someone that is an English and Korean speaker, who has worked with Bong Joon-ho for a long time.
Okay,
and they obviously care deeply about getting the English, the English translation to reflect the any kind of metaphor or thematic or to make sure that it holds up to the concept. Mm-hmm. There was just every now and then I remember reading the line and being like, yeah, that felt like a Google Translate line.
Yes.
And whether or not that's completely deliberate then, considering how much apparently this person is like legitimately takes great care in that. Maybe it kind of made me think about it another way and go, okay, well maybe that's deliberately designed to be kind of jarring and maybe a little alienating in its translation.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, it's a killer film. It's got so much going on. I'm really looking forward to seeing it again.
Yeah,
that's Parasite.
I would like to see it again. This is what I mentioned before. I have wanted to watch this for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I have listened to so many people rave about this. So when I've watched it, I feel like my watch has been tainted now. I still gave it 4 stars out of 5.
Sure.
But I need to watch it again. I would like to watch it again already. So when I watch it with my wife, I'm gonna just maybe just try and forget what I know and come in blind if I can. You want to watch it fresh and go from there.
Sure.
But echo everything.
I feel like a second watch is going to really illuminate some of the creativity that's in that movie, because once you know, and once the surprise of where this movie goes, it's not even like this is the thing. I think people are selling it incorrectly as that it's this huge twist. It's not. It's just that the film turns in a direction that I don't think any of us expected.
Yeah.
So it's not like one of the. It's not a Shyamalan twist where you're just like, oh,
they're all dead. Yeah. No, it's not that.
It's just. Because
but
it's
set
a certain
reality.
film.
It's not a twist. That could happen.
Yes,
you
exactly.
don't know that could happen.
For sure.
You know.
Wait, you're telling me Bruce Willis couldn't be a ghost?
Come
on,
this guy, he could be. Okay. Well,
what's so that was like my number 3. I guess.
Okay. All right. Well, my number.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure.
Oh,
no, I am. I'm going to talk. I'm going to just wrap it up. Start mine off with Endgame. And because it was it was big. The reason that when a lot of people compare, not that you can't help it, compare Infinity to Endgame, it was the wrap up for me. But what Endgame brought for me were things that I like in films that are better. When they time traveled and went back and looked at those parts, I love those moments. The fact that you'll take that. They go back to New York when the Jatari invaded, and you're seeing what the Sorcerer Supreme is doing. Seeing from her perspective.
Yep.
There were little moments like that. That being that, I like it. Now a lot of people have issues with what I'm about to say, but I like it. I think Endgame is a bit darker. A lot of people think that Infinity is darker because of the ending. But no, I like that they have to kind of pick themselves up. That superheroes dying is a thing. And because we sat with it for years and they did that so well, that pause, was it 15 or 10? I think it was 15. 5 pause, years, pause, later, and that was great. I loved it. There were so many little parts of that, that was so great. And of course, the massive ending, and we all know how good it is. I'm not going to waste time talking about how good Endgame is.
Sure. Oh, look, we had an absolute ball.
It was great.
We obviously, our episode 200 is our massive episode 200. Episode 100 is our massive look at Endgame and the Marvel franchise of the whole.
Yeah.
Up to that point. But it's safe to say, that we do really, really love that movie. Funny that you had Endgame on your 10 of the decade, yet it only makes number 3 on your best of the year.
Correct.
You're an enigma wrapped in a riddle, Nick. Oh, I fucked that up. It's late. It's hot.
It's a podcast. We could recut it, Tys.
No, I'm not going to try and do the gay again because it's not going to work.
I am. Go on, Tys. What's your next one?
My number 2 is Dr. Sleep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
For many reasons.
Cements me wanting to see it.
Yeah, it's so worth seeing. It's a hard movie to define because, like I said, yes, it is a horror movie at its core for sure.
Yeah.
But it also has this, really kind of like this fantasy vibe to it. This kind of adventure movie vibe to it. It feels a little bit like Stephen King playing in almost like an X-Men universe a little bit.
Okay.
So The Shining becomes kind of like a superpower.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And the villains become kind of this example of, because they're kind of vampires but kind of not, kind of weird witch people.
Okay.
But kind of not. So it's, imagine like the things that Stephen King likes to talk about, but if you put them all together in almost like a comic book is kind of what you get with Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, right.
And at the same time, you're dealing with some really heavy issues. I think the way this movie talks about alcoholism and becoming a better person post that kind of disease is really interesting. Has a lot of really interesting things to say about that. The new characters are incredibly strong. If you were ever worried that it's like, well, how are you going to top Jack Torrance? You have the wonderful Rebecca Hall. Is it Rebecca Hall?
It is.
Yeah. Playing, Something the Hat.
Something the Hat?
God, I've forgotten her name in it.
Rose
the Hat. Oh, my God.
Rose the Hat?
Did I say it's Rebecca Ferguson, not Rebecca Hall?
Oh, sorry.
Rebecca Ferguson. Rose the Hat. Is one of like an ultimate Stephen King villain. Really, really at home amongst what makes Stephen King villains tick.
Right.
And that is vulnerability. And that's what makes them really interesting, is that you understand where they're coming from. They're completely evil human beings, but their actions are completely justifiable to them, and we believe it. But she's also downright terrifying, but charming, really entertaining. I wish there was more screen time with her. She was really great.
Yeah.
The relationship between Ewan McGregor and the small child, the young child that he can communicate with because of The Shining, is really beautiful. That's kind of the plot, is that another girl with The Shining
has the same ability,
starts making contact with Danny, and that's how it all goes from there. It's and it has one of the all-time great endings is when they decide, in order to have the showdown with Rose the Hat and her peeps, they might need to revisit a certain place.
I like it,
and it's mint. Well worth checking out. I'm very much looking forward to reading the book, and it feels like the kind of movie that I think I'm going to rewatch quite a lot.
Okay.
Because, like I said, it kind of feels like a comic book movie.
Right.
It kind of feels like what Glass could have been. Yeah. Where you combine, when you put those people that have those powers in a horror world, but also just with that little touch of adventure and realism, and suddenly you get a really good comic book adventure fantasy movie.
Nice.
So Dr. Sleep, really great. I had an absolute blast with it.
Okay.
Check it out.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, man.
Well, you've hooked me now.
That's the point.
My second. Are we doing 1, 2, 3 here?
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. My second, which when you saw the trailer, you needed to jump on it and do it as soon as you can, because this is sad that he's gotten a bit snubbed here. I'm talking about Uncut Gems.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's my second.
Nice.
And it holds fast.
The Safdie brothers.
The Safdie brothers with Adam Sandler, who's been snubbed by every award show, which when you watch it, you're going to find out why people are pissed.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. This is a good movie. This is a really good movie. This is one of those movies that's going to stand the test of time. This is really going to hold fast. This is a movie that I would liken to almost a Requiem. When you watched Requiem for a Dream the first time,
oh sure,
you didn't realize that a movie could do this to you. This is also not quite to the nth of that Aronofsky tragedy, but more so, this movie grabs a hold of you by the throat and doesn't really let you go.
Sure.
At all. You don't get that, oh, okay, I can kind of breathe through this scene. We're going to just relax. No, you don't get that. You don't get it at all. So once this thing ends, you're exhausted.
Okay.
In that, so Adam Sandler's playing a charismatic, I wouldn't say charismatic, but he's a New York jeweler.
Bit of a wisecracking.
But not really wisecracking.
Okay.
He's more just the will do anything to please kind of guy.
Okay.
Always one of those guys that you see on the street that is really busy all the time.
Yep, okay.
And has like 3 phones in his pocket for some fucking reason. Yeah, and there's a reason that he does.
Yep.
But yeah, his name is Howard. He plays a character called Howard Ratner, who owns. Now, his jeweler shop is not the one that you're going to see like. I was about to say Dimmicks. That's a bookstore. On the corner. No. It's kind of like a stingy. You have to go up into an apartment block, and he has it set out there.
Okay.
He knows a lot about dueling. He's that's the thing. Like the movie kind of plays that. Is he legit? Is he that legit, or is he really the con artist that we think that he is?
Sure.
Now, Howard has a gambling addiction. He will take money that he's earned or money that is not his, just like any other person who has that affliction, and place more bets.
Right.
He has bookies that are after him, that are after his family, that he will back into a corner, tell them that he's going off to get the money, grab that money and make more bets. Like it's getting to the point where his life is literally walking the thinnest rope. His marriage has come to an end.
Yep. They're
just saving face for the kids until the point is over. His girlfriend in his apartment she's kind of with him the whole time. She's helping him out, but she's young and she likes to do other stuff.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? They kind of don't have their interest aligned, but they love one another. And he just it holds you by the neck because he's almost got that leg up but keeps failing. Got that leg up but keeps failing, and he just keeps on tripping. And you don't get a chance to come on. You can't back him because you don't trust him.
Sure.
So you're just going through the motions with this guy, and it's fucking excruciating and entertaining at the same point.
Yeah, for sure.
And my God, this thing ends with just a kick to the nuts. It's fucking awesome.
Okay,
it's
cool.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, nice.
It's set in New York, and you feel filthy as hell when you watch this.
Yeah, I get
and the best part about it is it's set in New York in like 2004. So everyone's got like an iPhone 4, and when they're typing, it's like because I've still got that on. It's so bizarre.
Plenty of like low cut jeans and low cut flare jeans and shell necklaces,
all that shit. Yeah, they've got a lot of people that I wouldn't know. So they've got. The artist, The Weeknd, I know who that is, making his first gig appearance type of thing before he hit big.
Oh, yeah, right.
Things like that. They've got a basketball guy who's in there who plays for the Celtics, who has quite a bit to do with the story.
Oh,
and
right.
He is an actual NBA basketballer.
Been around there.
I don't know who that is.
Kevin Durant?
I have no idea.
He's probably one of the only ones I know from that era.
I could literally look it up. Hang on a minute. But yeah, this thing...
Oh, no, Garnett. Kevin Garnett.
There you go.
Yes.
So Kevin Garnett plays quite a meaty role in this.
Yeah, right.
Such a good movie, man. The tension is at its highest and just so good.
Wow.
Watch this movie.
All right, I'm on it.
Yeah.
Will do indeed.
Definitely watch
Uncut Gems.
Yeah, Uncut Gems.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, that leaves us with what I think is my favourite movie of the year. I say think.
Think.
Because... It's the one I feel... Yeah, because I haven't watched it. I'm just going to go out on a limb. No, it's because it's the one that I most want to rewatch since I saw it.
Sure.
It's the one that I keep thinking about the most. It's the one that I think I am rooting for with Oscars, despite probably it not going to win much.
Yeah.
But I have this... I think over time, I've developed this affection for it that I didn't expect at first. And because of that affection, I now feel like it's my favourite film of the year. And that's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Nice.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the experience of watching this as well. I got to see this on my birthday, which I think might have been part of it as well, because I love going to see movies for my birthday. And there's something very exciting about sitting down to watch a new Tarantino film in any circumstance. 100%. So it was definitely one of the biggest events of this year for me, probably next to Endgame, sitting down for Endgame.
Yep.
And like I said, there were moments in this movie where I was just overwhelmed with different emotions. The sequence at the ranch with Brad Pitt, Bruce Dern, and all the girls and the people, like you are absolutely tearing your fingernails out because you are so nervous.
Yeah.
The whole entire final sequence is just gleefully violent and over the top and wonderful. There's heartbreaking moments. Watching Sharon Tate watch herself in her film is really quite a moving experience, because you just see this person with so much hope and so much kind of joy in her heart, and it's just who feels so lucky to be where she is, who of course in reality had her life tragically ended.
Leo's acting, like he's not acting, but he's acting in the scene. Like he's trying to be an actor.
Yeah, he's sitting down. What's the character in the book that he's reading? Petey.
Oh, I have no idea.
No, I don't know what it is. But he's reading this country and western book, and the other child actor is like the child actor is they have this really deep intellectual conversation about this character and acting, and the look on his face. I think one of my favorite moments of the year is the look on his face when the girl tells him that he's a really good actor. That was the best acting I've ever seen. It's heartwarming, and he's such a he's such a complicated character, yet we love him so much. And same with Brad Pitt. Like it's highly likely he killed his wife, and yet we find him. I find him the most charismatic,
coolest person ever to hit cinema. Seriously.
He beats the shit out of Bruce Lee,
and that's fine.
That's awesome,
and I loved it.
You get Kurt Russell. We get some Kurt Russell time.
Yeah, man.
We get Pacino just being hilarious, like just being the most typical movie producer, kind of,
doing his thing,
hopping around everywhere. It's a. I can't wait to rewatch this movie, because I think it's Tarantino dealing, in the movie industry, like how he hasn't made a film set in the film industry yet. I find fascinating.
So good.
And
of course he picks that time when there were like...
that's his peak time.
Sets where there were just Western sets, and they left them.
Yeah.
We'll use it in the next Western.
That's it. Well, it's still the studio era.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of getting to the arse end of the studio era, and that's why all these people are going to like Mexico and Italy to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's still that. Yeah, it's very much you go to the studio lot. And it's like, here are all the sets. Yep. Let's make a movie. Let's make a picture. So what do we got?
Love those.
I think at first my reaction to it was, I really liked that movie. And as time has gone on,
you've only watched it the once?
Just the once so far.
Yeah.
As time has gone on, my memory of it has I've just gotten happier with the memory.
Yeah, right.
As time has gone on, and I reflect back on moments in the film, and I love that moment even more than I did the first time I watched it.
Yeah, right.
And I think the overall effect of the movie has become. I've gotten more attached to that feeling,
right?
Because that feeling of release at the end. I don't want to explain why. Because obviously, if some people still haven't seen it, I mean, we spoiled fucking Skywalker. We can spoil.
Yeah, but there's a difference there.
Yeah, true. There's a release at the end of this film that is so hopeful yet sad at the same time. That I am, I get more and more in love with the more I think about the way that ending made me feel. So yeah, I'm popping that as my favourite film of the year.
I like that.
I don't think it's going to end up winning many Oscars. I'm kind of got my fingers crossed for original screenplay still, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's
going to be.
I feel like Tarantino keeps making these wonderful movies that just the flavor of the month just comes in and knocks him out of the park at the last minute.
Absolutely.
And there's going to be we're going to remember the years of Tarantino. We're going to remember these films. They're going to exist forever.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that some of these other movies that have knocked his movies off
are going to be remembered
as fondly.
I think it's going to be spoilers, but I reckon it's going to be a 1917.
I feel like, well, based on the way it's going at the moment, which is it's really kind of it's made a late charge and it has charged.
Yeah. Everyone's seeing this thing.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I feel like that's the way it's going to go.
It's going to be a header between 1917 and Parasite, I reckon.
Yeah, Parasite's got a lot to overcome in order to win. Yeah, well, like it's got.
I think it's the year that they give it that they.
Look, it's going to happen eventually, and statistics are made to be broken. That's why they're statistics. Exactly. Eventually, they do get broken.
Yeah,
but I don't. It's got to do a lot. It's got to do a lot to get there.
Well, my end, which is it's going to be a little controversial talking about this, Tyson. My favorite is. I like that you spoke about why it's your favorite, and the reason why that this was my favorite is because I thought that this movie would fail hard. There's no way that I thought that they could bring out this movie about this character, do the spin-off and have it be this good, and that is the Joker.
Okay.
Now, my friend Tyson here gave it. What did you give it, Tys?
I gave it 2.5 stars.
2.5 stars, Tys. That's a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
But before we touch on that, let me...
You just talk about why it's your favourite.
I know. I was so blown away by what this is, because this is a movie where, for those people who have read Batman comics all of their lives, because the last thing I wanted was an origin story. I don't, out of all the villains, out of anyone, I don't want an origin story about the Joker, because his mystery, that's what makes him the Joker.
Yeah.
I don't want to see some Joe Blow human being pushed to the nth degree, then all of a sudden he decides to put makeup on and scar his face. That's not the Joker. Mm-hmm. The Joker is a mystery. Now, what they did here was almost perfect. It's a story of the Joker. It can be that version of the Joker. Mm-hmm. They're all different versions. We all know that because of, Rick and Morty, and, there are different timelines. It doesn't matter.
For sure.
But especially for comic book fans or Batman, people who read Batman, this was a great storytelling. For people who haven't read Batman or don't know that much about his lore, this is just going to be a great film. Because you don't need to know anything about Batman if you don't want to. Now, that's not to say there weren't moments of this movie that I felt could have been lifted out and the movie would have been better. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have a bit of gripe the fact that he met young Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think they really needed that. I did like his interactions with... oh, Jesus, I've forgotten his name. Bruce Wayne's dad, his name? Thomas. Thank you. I did like his interactions with Thomas and how that went and things like that.
Sure.
But yeah, it was just I don't think there was a scene nor there was a piece of dialogue that wasn't thought over and used to its nth degree. Not a single celluloid was wasted, I felt, in this.
Yeah.
Even, like, a lot of people don't like the dance. What you were seeing was the birth of the Joker in that dance sequence, which was just amazing.
Sure.
The only other thing I didn't like was you didn't need to see fucking Bruce's parents die again. We've seen it. We know what happens. What could have been nice has seen a family with a child walk down an alley, and then you see the guy with the gun leaning against that alley, and then cut, and then that's it. That's all you need. If you want to put that in, sure, leave it at that.
Sure.
The other thing I could have left a little bit without was the smoking. I think I love that he smoked. It was a release for him. But in one of my most favourite scenes in that movie is that he's had his day, everything's gone to shit. He's sitting in his lounge room smoking and he's laughing at nothing.
Yeah.
Remove the cigarette and you've got a scene that is almost petrifying.
Sure.
Going to the nth degree of why the Joker is that scary.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he is he's the best superhero villain. And it was going to be, they walked a fine line. It was going to be touch and go, but man, they sold it and they sold it well. Like, it was such a great, great movie. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, look, honestly, I'm 100%. I'm really glad that you enjoyed it. Like, it as the movie went on, it became increasingly obvious that that movie is not for me.
Right.
And I was into it. I really was, and I was kind of just like, yeah, cool, okay, cool, and just letting it tell its story. And I was getting more and more frustrated as I went on, and I just came to that realization that I'm like, you know what, these guys have made a movie that exists in a reality that I don't want my characters to exist
Which
in.
is where I thought that I would be. Like, I thought when they made the Joker, I was like, this is going to be a Joker that I don't want to see.
Yeah. And look, and that's cool. And it totally is worthwhile that it exists, by all means. And that's why I did find it kind of hard to rate in the end, because I didn't enjoy the experience at all, but I had a lot of respect for the experience. So that's why it sits 100% on a 5, because I think there is some really great stuff on a technical level happening in that film. But for me, I just could not enjoy the experience. And you know, I like, speaking of talking about feeling kind of like you want to have a shower, like that was that movie in a nutshell. Is at the end I was just kind of like, just felt kind of dirty and gross. And I don't doubt that that's its intention, but for me, I
Gotham
kind of
City was filthy, man.
Yeah, it wasn't just
filthy.
But for me, I kind of just came away from the end of it and just went, that's not an interpretation of this character that I needed.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and look, one day maybe we'll have a more thorough kind of breakdown on why, but
yeah, that's okay.
Can't be bothered.
But yeah,
I don't want to poo-poo your favorite movie of the year.
I don't care. It's gonna live long and strong.
Yeah, it will, and it is going to live on.
It's so good. I can't wait to rewatch it.
It's the movie of the moment as well. It's memes everywhere.
100%.
It's, you know, so much dancing Joker that you see everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, so many moments of that film have already made its way out into like public culture.
Yeah.
It is going to live on forever.
Infamous.
Yeah, they're like a full.
They're like a full thing now.
Yeah,
my God.
Tourist attraction. Yeah, people are going nuts for it.
Huge fan.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
I like that. This might be one of the first times we've had like a clear, it's like split of opinion on a film that is featured in one of our lists this way.
Yeah.
Like, it's very rare for us that we kind of pick a movie that is a favourite that the other person really doesn't like.
Yeah.
So it's funny that we get there. We get there eventually.
Finally.
Yeah. On this one of all things as well. Because we were pretty excited for this. Both of us. And
Yeah, but I was, when it got mentioned, I was so skeptical. I was like, you're going to fuck this up. That
trailer was great, though.
And that trailer sold us.
Yeah, the trailer
we were in.
It was really awesome.
Yeah. I just loved what it said. Like, it had so many things to say about society and things like that. And, you know, that
of course.
to the nth degree. But, you know, at the end of it, it was a Batman villain. And it was a real Batman villain.
Yeah. I'm fascinated to think of what a Batman that lives in that universe would be.
And I really hope we don't see it.
No,
this could be me back to the start again, and this is not going to happen. But yeah, I really...
It's not even worth it, because I just don't... I think in order to make a Batman that works in this universe, he would just be the most dour, completely like... There would be no excitement about him whatsoever.
Nah.
He'd be just a monster.
He'd be a cop that'd beat the shit out of people.
He'd just be a guy with it. Yeah. He'd just be a guy that would just fuck you up.
Yeah.
And then carry on with his day. There'd be no...
There wouldn't be a cape or a Batmobile.
No, he'd probably just...
He'd just rock up and beat the shit out of you with a baseball bat.
Call himself Batman.
Exactly. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman, you fuck. Just curb stomp.
Oh, it just hit you with a bat. A metallic bat. Fuck, man. Have you seen the Batman? Jesus.
That's so good.
Yeah, I've got a broken arm because of the Batman. Look at that shit.
Nice.
Break my arm.
What a
golden. What a prick.
Oh, man. Anyway, well, that is our 2019 year in review. We've picked our favourite movie moments and our favourite movies. What a treat, Nicholas.
Massive, Tys.
It has been massive, but we've come in shorter than we did our decade review, so that's not too shabby.
That's always good.
It's always good to know. Still post 2 hours, though,
absolutely.
So I hope you enjoyed, ladies and gentlemen.
But not a lot of good films this year, like 2019. Like not a plethora of films that were great.
Look, we still have quite a few to watch, and we're going to be quite honest.
Do we?
Yeah, there are some things. I know for a fact that I have quite a few still to watch, and that's not just generally your Oscar favourites. There are movies that I've heard and have good reputation that I haven't had a chance to see yet. I was telling you earlier, I sat down to watch Ad Astra.
That's right.
And due to unforeseen circumstances, I didn't get a chance to watch it. And I watched about 15 minutes of it and was already feeling like this could be a movie that I'm going to really, really enjoy.
Right.
Whether or not it maintains that all the way through, we'll never know. Because I'm never going to see it. No, that's not it. I'm going to watch that very soon. But yeah, so I don't like making an assessment on a year until many years after, and I know
you've seen quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's why with our ranked top 10s, we tend to only do years that are well in the past, because it gives us an opportunity to have seen so many more of the movies, and that's also partly why we only do a top 3 in these episodes. Is because we're allowing time for our taste to change.
Absolutely.
We're just saying that as of this moment, these were the 3 movies that were our favourite ones that we watched this year.
Yeah, man.
Next week.
Uncut Gems almost beat The Joker, by the way.
I'm glad you mentioned that, though, because I'm really interested to see it. Yeah. Really interested.
Yeah. That was hard. That was really hard to pick that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Next week, Tys.
Next week, Nick, we're doing our preview of 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be looking month by month at the films as they come out, or as they are scheduled to come out. We're going to talk about whether we're excited. We're going to maybe mention if the trailer exists for them yet. If we've seen the trailer, we're going to have a little chat about that. We're going to see what's getting us pumped for 2020.
2020.
This is going to be a lot of fun, because
I hope it's a better year for some reason.
Well, look, it's going to be an interesting slate. I think there's some, I'm not sure how I feel about the summer movie season just at this stage, the way it's shaping up, but there are definitely a few things that I'm very keen to see.
That's okay.
And then the week after that, Nicholas,
Tyson,
it will be Oscar Extravaganza.
Oh, my God.
A very fun episode where we basically break down the ceremony and talk about what we loved, what was going on, and the winners, the losers,
the
how
fuck-ups.
I went on my betting. Because I really...
You love those bets.
Oh, man, I do love an Oscars bet.
You do.
It basically pays for my year's worth of
you do well.
random gambling.
You do well, though.
Yeah, because...
You've got it down to a T. You've got
bookies don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going to win sound editing. They're just having a stab. I'm pretty certain I know what's going to win sound editing. Do you know what? It's always the sound awards that I make the most money on.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Oh, God. Anyway, obviously,
tune in.
Gamble responsibly. Gambling is coming.
Gambling responsibly and see Uncut Gems.
Oh, yeah. That's one thing I have heard about it. If you are a gambler, it's going to cause you massive anxiety.
Yeah, if you have anxiety at all, like I said to Sam, you want to watch Uncut Gems? And then I watched it and I was like, hey, you might not want to watch this, because she had anxiety watching fucking planes, trains and automobiles. And I was like, babe, maybe you better not watch this, because, not a lot of good things go well for this guy. Yeah, right.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, why don't you tell the people one more time where they can find our show?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Nicholas. This is Tyson. We do a movie podcast. It's everywhere that you can find podcasts. A couple of, maybe some places you can't, but that's okay. We are on YouTube, though. So if you like to subscribe, and do all of those things on those podcast apps, you can do it on YouTube as well. Other than that, we are on all the socials, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Yep.
We do posts different things on those platforms, so yeah, I like to
get on and follow everything, because it's different content for each one.
Each time
it's a bit different. It's a little bit kind of like some of the Instagram stuff obviously is a little bit more kind of art based.
Exactly.
Facebook's a bit more kind of information, maybe some polls, maybe a question here and there.
Exactly. And especially for that decade, man, I busted my ass for that poster, man.
Yeah, that poster is out of control. Everyone go to that poster. That's not something Nick just found on the internet. Nick made that poster.
I did.
So go on and give it a like.
Give me a like. I dare you.
For the effort made to put that, whatever it was, 60 or 70 movie posters into one in a montage.
It's fucking hard.
Yeah, I'm sure it took some time.
It did. It did.
And yes, and the other thing I was going to mention, we would love to hear what your favourite movies were for 2019.
Absolutely.
Your favourite movie moments.
Yeah.
What did we leave out? What didn't we mention?
What did you think of Rise of the Skywalker?
Yeah. Right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Rise of the Skywalker.
I'm suddenly doubting that that's the title.
Are you being
even
serious?
The Rise of Skywalker.
The Rise of the Skywalker.
It's not.
It has. I put an extra dot in there. Okay.
Yeah, tell us. We'd love to hear what you thought about it, people. And especially if there's a favourite movie that we didn't mention at all.
Absolutely.
Please let us know, because it might be just something that's not on our radar,
or
we haven't got around to watching yet. And whenever we do hear about it being someone's favourite movie, usually it makes me jump to watch it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Nick, that's going to wrap us, man. Bye, Nick.
Bye, Tys.
See you. Bye.
Bye, buddy.
Bye.
Do you know what I'm surprised they didn't get a mention, Tyson?
What's that?
We didn't mention a lot of things.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
Like?
We didn't mention any Spidey.
Yep.
Far From Home.
Yep.
We didn't mention any Shazam.
We didn't mention any Hellboy.
We didn't mention any Lion King.
We didn't mention any X-Men Dark Phoenix.
We didn't mention any Detective Pikachu.
We didn't mention